A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
It's Maxwell House Coffee Time, starring George Burns and Gracie Allen. With yours truly, Bill Goodwin, and the music of Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. For deep down laughs and listening enjoyment, it's George and Gracie. And for deep down coffee drinking enjoyment, it's Maxwell House, with extra flavor in the blend because of choice Latin American coffees skillfully combined. Extra flavor in the cup because Radiant Roast develops the full flavor of every coffee bean. And the result is that today more people buy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world. Now let's look in for our first visit of the new year at the Burns home.
I'm so proud of you, George. You've kept your New Year's resolution for 3 whole days.
Well, it's because I've got a strong character.
Oh, and such a difficult resolution, to smile and be pleasant to everybody and not let things upset you.
I just made up my mind, that's all.
Ah, you've been wonderful, dear. When I asked you if I could buy a new hat, you said no with such a sweet smile.
That's right.
And when I bought it anyhow, you just went quietly into the bathroom and ran cold water on your head.
Yeah, I'm a changed man.
Nothing seems to bother you at all. Not even last night's terrible dinner. The soup was too salty, the potatoes were raw, and the chops were burned.
It's pretty bad, all right.
Oh, yeah. But did you get angry? No. You just took off your apron and said, well, I'll do better next time.
Well, I just resolved that nothing will upset me. I'm going to smile no matter what.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Even when I stutter, I smile.
Yeah. Oh, George, I have some news for you.
What?
My mother's coming to visit us. Well, George, where's your smile?
I'm smiling.
But, George, would you rather my mother didn't come?
Well, that's...
Oh, don't be afraid to tell me. Ours isn't that kind of a marriage. If you don't want her here, just say so. I'll understand.
Well, as long as you feel that way,
Oh, yeah? Well, she's coming anyway.
Look, honey, we don't get along. Your mother hates me.
Oh, she does not. There are just a couple of things about you she can't stand. Now, if you changed them, she'd be crazy about you.
What couple of things?
Your looks and your personality.
She's mad about me.
Oh, my goodness. All this fuss because my dear, sweet mother wants to visit us. Don't you know that I'm her own flesh and blood?
Make it just her blood. When you get her flesh, I'm leaving you.
I promise you Mama will only stay with us until the painters finish her new house.
When will the painters finish?
Well, they can't stop painting until the house is built.
They haven't built the house yet?
Well, they will as soon as they find a lot.
You folks haven't even got a lot?
Well, you can't buy one without money.
And when will they get the money?
Papa should get a job any day now.
In other words, your mother drops in on us for around 30 years. I'm sorry, Gracie, but it's either your mother or me. If she comes, I go.
You mean I've got to choose between my mother and the man I love?
That's it.
Well, there's only one choice I can make.
Naturally.
I'm going to miss you, George.
You mean Tata? Well, I won't go. I'm not leaving.
Well, I'm sure there's room for both of you. We'll fix up the den for Mother.
Honey, look. Los Angeles is filled with returned servicemen looking for a place to stay. Now, if we're going to fix up the den, let's fix it up for one of them.
Well, are there really a lot of homeless servicemen?
Well, just listen to these ads in the morning paper. Discharged soldier needs home for family. Discharged soldier desperately needs room. Discharged soldier must have lodging.
Oh, those poor men. No place to live, and the Army has fired them from their nice jobs.
Gracie.
Oh, George, you go down to the draft board and see if you can get those men their jobs back.
Believe me, that they don't want. Just a place to live.
All right. I'll tell Mama to stay in San Francisco, and we'll fix up the den for a serviceman.
Now, that's the spirit. Gracie, when the den is fixed...
Yeah, no, come in.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning, Meredith.
Hi, Meredith. What's new?
Well, I've got a new haircut, George. Went out for one this morning.
Well, that's interesting.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I usually cut my hair in the house, but it's such a nice day that I went out and cut it in the yard.
Looks like you use the hedge clippers.
No, they're a little too heavy to get a good grip on.
Oh, yes, they're heavy.
Would you like some breakfast, Meredith?
No, thanks, Gracie. Matter of fact, I just dropped in for a minute to tell George to finish my joke about the porcupine.
If you don't mind,
I started
Meredith.
to tell it at your party, but I never did get to pull the snapper.
Meredith, if you start that again, so help me.
George, remember your resolution. Smile.
Oh, sure. Go right ahead, Meredith. Pull the snapper.
Okay. Ha! Speaking of porcupines, I'm reminded of the little blue-eyed toddler.
Meredith, I remember how it began. Just tell me the finish. The snapper.
Gee, I'd like to oblige, George, but I memorized the joke just the way it is in my book. And if I don't start at the beginning, I can't remember how to pull the snapper.
Well, let her snap.
Speaking of porcupines, I'm reminded of the little blue-eyed toddler who chanced to go into the zoo one day.
You have to start from the beginning every time?
That's right, Gracie. Speaking of porcupines, I am reminded of the little blue-eyed toddler.
You couldn't stop now and then keep going?
No, afraid I couldn't. Speaking of porcupines...
Wow, that's amazing.
Speaking of porcupines...
I can't believe it, George.
Gracie, listen. Let him finish before the little blue-eyed toddler grows up and gets married.
Oh, I'm sorry. I won't say another word, Meredith.
Speaking of porcupines, I'm reminded of the little blue-eyed toddler who chanced to go into the zoo one day with a governess. As they passed the porcupine cage, the little tyke was heard to exclaim, "My, what a strange-looking beast. What do you say to that?" interrogated the curious governess. Whereupon the child replied, "Because he has such a...
Well?
How do you like that? I've forgotten the snapper.
Well, that's fine.
But don't worry, George. I'll go read my book and brush up on it.
I wish you wouldn't bother, Meredith.
No, it's no trouble at all. After all, I live right next door.
Yes, I know.
That makes it mighty handy when a fellow's got some snappers he wants to pull. I'll be back.
I wonder if Meredith has a long lease on that house next door.
Oh, yeah, he probably has. With this terrible housing shortage, anyone who has the place is hanging on to it.
Say, that reminds me. Let's go in the den and fix it up for that service.
All right. Oh, I'll bet this room will look mighty good to a boy who's been on those islands like Okinawa and Guadalcanal and KP and Guam.
KP? That's an island?
Well, it must be. Meredith Wilson was in the Army for 3 years, and he said he spent most of it on KP.
Oh, yeah. That's a small island surrounded by dishwater. I started to hang these pictures here the other day. Do you think the serviceman will like them?
Oh, yes. And I'll run to the market and get some tomatoes to scatter around.
What for?
Well, I heard dozens of returning servicemen say the first thing they want to do is find a beautiful tomato.
Yes, they like vegetables. Just hand me the hammer and nail.
Oh, please, George, don't do any hammering. We haven't any iodine to put on your finger.
Don't be silly. Give me the hammer.
Oh, all right, here.
And I'm not going to hit my finger. Who are you calling?
Bill Goodwin, to bring over his first aid kit.
You're wasting your time. I'm not going to hit my finger.
Hello, Bill? Would you rush right over with your first aid kit? George just hit his finger.
Ouch!
With a hammer.
There you are, George. Your finger's all bandaged.
Thanks, Bill.
Oh, what do you think of our idea of taking in a veteran, Bill?
Oh, it's swell, Gracie. We got a Marine sergeant staying at our house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, boy, when they've been overseas for a while, how they love to celebrate. Every night I take the sergeant out and we make the rounds.
Well, it's nice of you to do that, Bill.
Oh, well, I don't mind, Gracie. She's very pretty.
I should have known.
Well, I don't think we'll have a service woman. It's too dangerous. I wouldn't want her to walk in here, starve for the sight of a man, and find my George.
No, she's done her part. We shouldn't let her down now.
There goes the comedian. Well, I'm not anxious to have any lonesome female around, even if she is pretty. She'd probably want me to dance with her and go driving with her, and she might even want to go parking someplace and... Say, that's not bad.
Get George!
Just kidding, dear.
Oh, there's Meredith at the door.
Oh, no, not the porcupine again. Look, Gracie, slip out the back way. Run next door to Meredith's and get that joke book of his.
Oh, in case he forgets the story again, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Now, hurry.
Yeah, all right, dear.
Hey, shall I open the door, George?
Bolt it.
Bolt it?
Bolt it.
Well, okay. What's the big idea?
Meredith insists on telling me jokes from that corny book of his.
Oh, George, you don't know how poor Meredith feels when you don't laugh at his jokes. What if people didn't laugh when you told it? I guess you do know how he feels.
Never mind.
Anyone home in there? I'm back with the snapper.
Be real quiet, Bill. Maybe he'll go away.
The coast is clear, George. Meredith left.
I wish we could get him to leave that house next door. If I hear, ha! Speaking of porcupines, once more, I'll blow my top.
Well, George, I got it. Here's Meredith's joke book.
Oh, wonderful.
You know, I've been reading some of the stories in it. They're silly.
You said it. Especially the one about porcupines.
Ha! Speaking of porcupines...
Say, Meredith, don't you think when folks hear that familiar strain, just about everybody knows what you're playing?
I'm sure they do, Bill. I think practically the whole world must know the Missouri Waltz. Listen just for a moment.
Yes, the Missouri is certainly a name that's just as familiar to American music as the river itself is to the American scene. And you know the Missouri River is part and parcel of so many names rich in American lore. Why, its headwaters are formed by the Madison, the Gallatin, the Jefferson. Then as it winds across the Great Plains, it picks up the Big Sioux, the Kansas, the Osage. All names so familiar to our American scene. And I can't help thinking, too, how today there's another name that's become part and parcel of our American scene, of so many American homes. It's the name Maxwell House, signifying a coffee blend of true distinction, combining these fine Latin American coffees, Manizales for mellowness, Medellins for richness, other choice Latin American coffees for vigor, and Bucaramangas for full body. So it's no wonder that the famous name Maxwell House is known all over this great land of ours for full-flavored, fine coffee. Good to the last drop.
Oh, George, I'm so glad you talked me into fixing up the dent for a serviceman. I had no idea the housing shortage was so bad.
It's bad, all right. And there seems to be more people looking for houses in Los Angeles than any place else. I wonder why.
Well, it's our famous California climate, of course. As long as we have this weather, there'll never be enough houses to hold the people.
There won't, huh?
No, they keep washing away.
I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, yes. Los Angeles has the biggest housing problem of any city. Do you know there's actually a family living in the balcony of an all-night movie theater?
That must be a strange life.
Yeah, but they're getting used to it. They go to sleep at 10 minutes to Mildred Pierce and wake up at 1:30 spellbound.
Well, that's a good time to wake up. The fella can borrow Gregory Peck's razor and shave himself.
Yes. And then there's a young married couple I know. They finally found a place. Just one closet.
Well, one closet ought to be big enough for their clothes.
Not after they got the bed and stove in there.
Oh, the closet is all they have.
Yes. Oh, but they have lovely neighbors.
Well, that helps.
Yeah. The people who live in the bathroom are very friendly.
Well, let's decide on the serviceman who's going to get our dent.
All right. I don't care who he is as long as he's not a sergeant.
What's the matter with Sergeant?
Oh, nothing, but they don't need our help. They're all taken care of.
They are?
Oh, yes. All the soldiers say, the minute I'm out, I'm going to take care of that sergeant of mine.
Yes, the boys love those sergeants. Look, Gracie, why don't you read all the ads in the paper and pick out the serviceman who needs a room the most?
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then I'll pick out a serviceman just as soon as I see who's at the door.
Good morning, Mrs. Burns.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Postman. How are you today?
In fine fettle, Mrs. Burns. Under my glowing skin, my red and white corpuscles are calling Happy New Year to one another.
Oh, how nice of you. You know, I'm sorry I got you into trouble last week by telling you to bring Mamie to our party. I thought Mamie was your wife.
No, her name is Bertha, but I usually call her Butch.
Oh. And what does she call you?
Oh, you're much too young to hear that.
Well, when your wife found out about Mamie, I'll bet she really made a fuss, huh?
You know, Mrs. Burns, I didn't hear her say one cross word.
You didn't?
No, I was unconscious for 2 days.
Well, you know, it's so unfair the way she bullies you. You're the breadwinner, but she acts like she gave you the roof over your head.
If she could lift it, that's where I'd
Well,
get
Mr. Postman, why don't you leave?
Where would I go? There's such a housing shortage.
Yeah, that's true. We just fixed over our den for an ex-serviceman.
My wife's brother, an ex-serviceman, is living with us. But there was no room in the house. We had to put some gunny sacks in the corner of the garage.
Oh, how uncomfortable.
Yes, I hardly sleep a wink.
Well, Mr. Postman, look at it this way. You owe him something. While he was over there fighting and risking his life, you were home with your wife where it was safe.
Goodbye, Mrs. Burns. Remember, keep smiling.
And I found the serviceman who needs a room the most.
Good.
Now listen to this. Place to live urgently needed by returned soldier with wife, small daughter, baby son, and parrot.
But honey, where would they all sleep?
Oh, don't worry about that, dear. I figured it all out. The soldier and his wife will take our room. The children will take the den. I'll take the couch in the living room, and we'll hang the parrot's cage in the pantry.
And where will I sleep?
We'll put an ad in the paper.
No, you don't.
Oh, well, we'll work that out. Now, listen to the rest of my schedule. In the morning, you get up at 5 o'clock.
I haven't been to bed yet.
Well, that saves you the trouble of getting up. Now, you wake the soldier. He takes the shower and wakes his wife. She takes the shower and wakes me. I take my shower, and then the soldier's wife bathes the 2 children.
How about me?
Oh, you're big enough to bathe yourself.
There's any hot water left.
Well, next comes breakfast. First the soldier eats, and then his wife eats, then the children eat, and then I eat, and then the parrot eats.
Then I have breakfast.
No, by that time it's lunchtime.
Nice schedule.
Now, first the soldier eats lunch, then his wife eats, then the children eat, then I eat, and then the parrot eats.
Oh, no, he doesn't. I just ate the parrot for breakfast. Now, look, honey, as much as I want to help that family, this just won't work.
Oh, well, you answer the door. I'll go and try to figure something out.
Yeah, do that. Come in.
Hello, George.
Should have looked first.
Say, I was over here a little while ago, but the door was locked.
Really? Care to step outside and see if it'll happen again?
Well, later I might, but right now I want to tell you about the wonderful idea I've got. George, how would you like to go into vaudeville with me?
Vaudeville?
I've memorized that whole book of humorous stories and anecdotes. We'll call the act Meredith Wilson and Straight Man.
Meredith Wilson and Straight Man.
He's the fellow who asked the comedian the question.
I know that. I know what he
does,
Meredith. You explain that.
Well, I think we can make a go of it, George. Vaudeville isn't dead.
Well, believe me, this will do it. Meredith Wilson and Straight Man.
Yeah.
Isn't that too much billing for me? How about just Meredith Wilson and Man? Or Meredith Wilson and Straight.
Well, that's okay.
Or Straight Meredith Wilson.
That's okay, George, as long as they spell Wilson with 2 L's. You know, lots of people think my name is spelled with 1 L, and they go around calling me Wilson. But it's Wilson with 2 L's.
And now they can call you Wilson.
Yes.
Yes. Sounds better with 2 L's. Look, Meredith, forget this vaudeville idea.
But gosh, George, I ought to capitalize on those stories. Can you suggest any better thing I can do with my joke book?
Meredith, believe me, no one wants to hear that Joe Miller collection of yours.
Oh, I made up some new ones myself to sort of sprinkle around among the others.
Oh, you got a few sprinklers?
Yes. For example, I say to you, say, George, do you know what the Marine said when he landed on the island of Caledonia and tried to take it from the Japs?
No, Meredith. What did the Marine say when he landed on the island of Caledonia and tried to take it from the Japs?
He said, Caledonia, Caledonia, what makes your beachhead so hard?
Meredith, you make a nice living playing music on our show. Why don't you let it go at that?
Because, George, I feel that no opportunity should be lost to bring a smile or a chuckle to this glum old world. My mother's that way. She gave the world something to laugh at.
And I had to hire it for my program.
Well, to get back to our vaudeville
Forget the vaudeville act. I'm not going to be a straight man.
But, gee,
I am. Come in.
Well, hi, George.
There's your man, Meredith. There he is. Bill is going to be a straight man.
Straight man for what?
My vaudeville act, Bill. I got a humdinger of an opening. We meet in the center of the stage, and I say to you, pardon me, would you give me $10 for a cup of coffee? And you say, isn't that a lot for a cup of coffee? Whereupon I reply, well, I'm a big tipper. Then I walk off the stage and leave you standing there.
You're not going to leave me standing there, not after that.
I think we can work that out. But just let's run through the joke and see if you've got it. Pardon me, would you give me $10 for a cup of coffee?
I give you $100 for a cup of Maxwell House coffee.
Well, I'm a big tipper. Bill, I don't think it's quite as funny that way.
Well, Meredith, I can't help it. You see, that's the way I feel about Maxwell House. I'd give anything for it because Maxwell House is so appetizing, rich, full-bodied, and mellow. Coffee at its full-flavored best, always good to the last drop.
Meredith, knowing the way Bill feels about Maxwell House, I'd suggest you change cup of coffee in the joke to donut.
Okay, we'll try it that way. Pardon me, would you give me $10 for a donut?
I would if I knew a cup of Maxwell House coffee went with it. You know, more people buy and enjoy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world.
Well, I'm a big tipper. Now, that didn't seem to help it much. I think maybe you're the best straight man, George.
Bill, if you don't stop talking about Maxwell House coffee, I'll be back in vaudeville.
If I do stop, you'll be back even faster.
Look, comedian, why don't you run along and take the jerk with you?
Okay, come along, Bill.
If Meredith doesn't move out of that house next door, I'll wind up in a straitjacket of all the broken-down jokes.
Well, George, I worked out a new schedule.
Oh, new schedule.
For the serviceman and his family. We'll put the parrot on the back porch, and you get the pantry.
How could I sleep in the pantry?
Well, you thought it was good enough for the parrot.
This may surprise you, Gracie, but men don't sleep like parrots. Have you ever heard of a man spending the night hanging on a bar?
W.C. Field?
I'm wrong. Look, honey, I'm not just thinking of myself. The serviceman and his family would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I've got a great idea for you. If you can get Meredith Wilson to move away from next door, the serviceman and his family could have that whole house.
Oh, George, that's a wonderful idea.
Well, sure. Then we can rent our den to one ex-serviceman like we planned.
Well, George, I see it all now. I'll go right over and talk to Meredith.
Well, if I do say so myself, that was a smart piece of work.
Well, George, I did it. Meredith loved the idea, and he's turning his house over to that veteran and his family.
And Meredith is moving out.
He's already moved.
Gracie, you're a genius. A great, big, gorgeous genius.
Oh, I'm not so tall.
Now, how can we turn our den over? Now we can turn our den over to some unmarried ex-serviceman.
Yeah, well, I'm taking care of that, too. He's out front now. Why don't you help him carry his things in?
Okay. Can I help you?
You sure can, George. You can carry the trunk, and I'll bring my flute.
Meredith, what are you doing here?
Well, didn't Gracie tell you? I'm the ex-serviceman who's going to live here.
What?
Yep, and I know we'll get along swell and have a million laughs.
Now, look,
now I can tell you the snapper of that story.
But, Meredith...
Speaking of...
Join us again next week when we'll all be back. George Burns, Gracie Allen, Meredith Wilson and his orchestra, and yours truly, Bill Goodwin.
Until next Thursday, then, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's #1 brand of coffee. Always good to the last drop.
And by the way, folks, although we had some fun today talking about the housing shortage, it really is a serious thing.
That's right. And if anyone listening has a spare room or two that might accommodate a serviceman and his family, it couldn't be put to a better use. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Stay tuned to this station because Dinah Shore's open house is coming on in just a second. Dinah's special guest tonight is Charles Lawton.
Oh, goody, goody, Jell-O pudding tonight. It tastes like Grandma's, only more so.
You ain't kidding, that's right. And just as Jell-O sticks delicious, locked-in flavors can't be beaten. So the proof of Jell-O pudding's in the eating.
The Jell-O twins are hard to find, but keep on looking in your store. When sugar shortages are over, there'll be more.
Just a taste of Jell-O pudding or a Jell-O and you know it's the one and only J-E-L-L-O.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
It's Maxwell House Coffee Time, starring George Burns and Gracie Allen. With yours truly, Bill Goodwin, and the music of Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. For deep down laughs and listening enjoyment, it's George and Gracie. And for deep down coffee drinking enjoyment, it's Maxwell House, with extra flavor in the blend because of choice Latin American coffees, skillfully combined. Extra flavor in the cup because Radiant Roast develops the full flavor of every coffee bean. And the result is that today more people buy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world. Well, George has had a pretty rough week, what with Meredith Wilson and his joke book occupying the den. But this morning, the little man has decided to be happy come what may, as he strolls into the living room with a song on his lips.
Ain't misbehaving all by myself. Ain't misbehaving. I'm happy on the sofa.
Honest, he's not suffering. He's really happy. But there is one thing the poor little goon doesn't know. Going on in the den is a meeting of Gracie's club, the Beverly Hills Uplift Society. Unaware of the frightful doom that lies in wait, he cheerfully scratches himself and looks around for his wife.
Oh, Gracie, here's your boopsie boy.
Boopsie boy. Isn't that revolting?
Maybe she's in the den talking to Meredith.
No, George, no. Keep out of the den. It's full of uplifters. You're headed for disaster like a duck waddling straight into the frying pan. Waddle the other way, George. Oh, too late. His hand's on the doorknob.
Oh, no. Not that.
He doesn't think it's real. He can't believe fate would play such a dirty trick on a good-natured little schnook who never did anything worse than tee up a golf ball in the rough. So he sneaks the door open again.
And so I said you were on the
Gracie, come out here.
George. What is it, dear?
Gracie, I thought you promised me that those uplifters would never meet in my house again.
Well, we're not meeting in your part of the house. Meredith rents the den, and he said we could use it.
I don't believe it. No man could be that stupid. Not even Meredith.
Well, come in and see for yourself. Girls, let's be quiet, please. My husband has honored us with a visit. Blanche, you remember George. Clara, you remember George. Francis, you remember George. They all remember.
Yeah, they all remember.
Hi, George. Have a seat.
You're the one I came in to see, Meredith. Did you give this mob permission to meet here?
Yep, I sure did.
But why? Why in heaven's name would you want...
quiet, George. We have to get the meeting started. Now, as their names are called, the members will please answer here. Clara Bagley? Here. Blanche Morton? Here. Francis Fowler? Here. Meredith Wilson?
Here.
Genevieve...
Wait a minute. Meredith is a member?
We swore him in this morning.
But this is a woman's club.
Oh, we took care of that. We made him an honorary woman.
Well, congrats.
Thank you, George. Sure going to be a surprise to my sister. Up to now, she's been the only girl in the family.
But, Meredith, how can you stand these females?
I find them delightful and very appreciative of my humorous stories and anecdotes.
Oh, I'm beginning to see.
Would you girls care to hear another one right now? I have a dandy about married people, if someone will just mention the subject of married people.
It's your turn, Blanche.
All right. My husband and I are married people.
Ha! Speaking of married people, I am reminded of the grateful wife who said to her spouse, "Hubby dear, it's nice of you to send me away for a vacation." Whereupon the sly husband replied, "Yes, I certainly need one."
Is that the finish, Meredith?
Yeah, it is.
All right, girls, let's show our appreciation.
Well, that does it. I'm getting out of here.
Well, now we continue with the meeting. We're here today, girls, to get a report on the club's finances. During 1945, we did many things to make money. First, we gave a play. Money taken in, $47. After the first act, we refunded the money to all those who weren't satisfied. Money paid out, $47.
Stupid people. Well,
next we made taffy and sold it throughout Beverly Hills. Money taken in, $17. Later, we paid dental bills of all children who ate the taffy and lost their teeth. Money paid out, $85.
I just can't understand it. Well, that's just one of those things.
As a result of these and other money-raising projects, we begin the new year with a debt of exactly $112.14.
Oh, dear. How will we ever be able to raise that much money?
Well, may I make a suggestion?
Oh, of course, Meredith. What is it?
Well, nothing yet. I just wanted to make sure I could speak out if I thought of one.
Well, if no one else has a suggestion, I'd like to propose a new member for our club. The opera singer, Madame de Silva.
Opera singer? She hasn't been in opera for 20 years.
Well, let's put it to a vote. All in favor of Madame de Silva, say aye.
But she's so homely.
And so old.
And such a snob. She's terrible.
Her husband just left her $1 million. You're sweet, girls. That typifies the democratic spirit of our club.
Why, I'll bet we can take that rich old babe for all the dough we... perhaps our esteemed new member would be willing to pay off our debt. Well, do you suppose she'll insist on singing stuff like Carmen at our meetings?
Well, for $112.14, let us sing Carmen.
Well, sure. Let us sing the whole opera, Carmen and Lombardo. I'll go call her. Silva.
How do you do, Mrs. Burns? I rushed over as fast as ever my tiny little feet would carry me.
Well, now, if you just step into the den here, Madame de Silva, the girls of the Beverly Hills Uplifters Society are waiting to welcome you.
How nice.
Oh, quiet, girls, quiet. Girls, let's have a rousing hip-hip for Madame de Silva. Hip-hip.
Hooray!
Hip-hip.
Hooray! Well, that was a rousing welcome.
Well, I can tell you truthfully, no member has ever been welcomed with bigger hips.
Mrs. Burns, who is that striking-looking member in the mannish suit?
That's Meredith Wilson.
You'd almost think she was a man if it weren't for her long hair.
Well, as a matter of fact...
But here I am, starting to gossip, and I'm not even a member yet. I suppose you'd like me to write a check for my dues now.
Oh, no hurry about that. How about a speech first?
Very well. Girls,
thank you. And now the check.
How much are the dues?
Exactly $112.14.
Oh, well, I was prepared to pay $500.
Oh, all in favor of raising the dues to $500, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, that'll be $500, madam.
Very well. But before I sign this check, Mrs. Burns, I should like to ask you a favor.
Oh, anything at all.
As you know, I have a very large operatic repertoire. I wonder if you'd let me put it on the radio.
Well, if you insist, but our couch is more your size.
Yes, but I would like to sing on your coast-to-coast radio program.
Oh, well, I'm afraid that's impossible. My husband runs that.
No program, no check.
But I run my husband.
Then it can be arranged.
Well, I think so. You see, he loves to sing, too, and if he can sing with you, I think he'll agree.
Excellent. I would need a male singer to team up with. Can your husband sing operas like Faust and Aida and Trovatore?
Oh, I'm sure he can.
Baritone?
Oh, that one he knows by heart. You wait here. I'll get him. Oh, George!
Yes? What is it, dear?
Oh, George, we have a new member, a famous singer, and she's simply dying to sing a duet with you. She thinks you have a magnificent voice.
Well, at last you got one intelligent woman in the club. I'd like to meet her.
Well, come right in the den. Madam De Silva, may I present my husband, the famous singer, Sugarthroat Burns?
Charm.
Same here. I understand you'd like to sing a little duet with me.
Yes. Suppose we do Giuseppe Verdi's Parigi Cara from La Traviata.
You don't happen to know Strut Miss Lizzie.
What?
Or Red Rose Rag. Boom, 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 down in the garden where the red rose grows. Oh, mine, I love you so. Love me like a flower. And don't you dare to holler. Lord, come and learn that. How do you like my voice?
Well.
Boom, 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 down.
Take my advice. Unless you've got some tobacco to auction off, keep your mouth closed.
Now, listen.
Besides, I sing only the classics.
Lo, hear the gentle lark, weary of rest, from his moist cabinet, most open house.
That song will go for 100 years.
Well, I can't wait. I haven't had breakfast yet.
Mrs. Burns, I will sing only if I have a legitimate operatic baritone to complement my own divine soprano. Until such a time as you produce him, there will be no check. Good day.
Well, girls, it looks like we'll have to scare up one of those real Italian baritones.
Oh, we'll never find one who'd sing with that old war horse.
Say, I know an Italian fellow who's quite musical. He'd be glad to do it.
Oh, really, Meredith?
Yeah. Of course, you'll have to hire his monkey, too.
Oh, Meredith. Girls, what'll we do?
Say, Meredith, that's your own tune you're playing now, isn't it?
Yes, Bill, that's Iowa. It's about my home state.
Really? Well, how'd you happen to write it anyway?
I just wanted to put a lot of memories into my music. Listen to me. Now, to you, Bill, that's probably just a melody. But to me, it's memories of sumac in September, of the old river bend, and of a boy and girl in a park. Memories of my hometown in Iowa.
Well, Meredith, your musical picture reminds me that your little town in the Midwest is typical of so many pleasant small towns all over the land. And just as they're an important part of friendly living in America, so too Maxwell House Coffee has become a part of good living in the American scene. For today, in homes where fine coffee is appreciated, the choice is most often Maxwell House. And just as your melody picture is a fine blend of orchestral harmony, so rich Maxwell House is a full flavored blend of these Latin American coffees. Manizales for mellowness. Medellins for richness. Other choice Latin American coffees for vigor. And Bucaramangas for full body. And the result is true harmony in a cup of coffee. It's Maxwell House. So good to the last drop.
We're in a spot. If we don't get a man to sing with Madame de Silva, we lose her money.
Oh, we'll never get a real singer. What we need is a man we can talk into posing as one.
Yes, that might work. A conceited man who likes to be flattered. A man who's attractive but not very bright.
A sucker.
Hello, girl.
Why, Bill Goodwin, we were just talking about you.
Really?
Well, yes. We were picking the handsomest actor in the movies, and naturally your name came up.
Oh, well, Gracie, I wouldn't call myself the handsomest actor in the movies.
No?
Well, no, you see, I appear on the radio, too.
Well, anyway, Bill, we think you're beautiful.
Oh, girls, please. You're just trying to turn my head.
Well, why not? You have such a gorgeous profile.
Well, you think so? Well, I think I look better full face. It gives depth to my dimples.
Well, now that you know how we feel about you, Bill, I'm sure you'll be glad to do us a little favor.
Well, what sort of favor?
Well, we want you to go on the radio and sing with Madame de Silva.
With that ancient Aida? With that decrepit Delilah? Oh, no, not me.
You won't do it as a favor?
Well, I'm sorry, Gracie, but that's out.
Oh. Well, then we'll have to use other measures. Francis, as vice president in charge of blackmail, have you anything that might persuade him?
Yes, Gracie. Here are some items from my notebook. September 2nd, Bill Goodwin was seen in the Gay Paris beauty shop having a finger wave.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
October 10th, Bill Goodwin was seen in the same shop
Now, stop. That's enough. Gracie, you wouldn't spread this around, would you? Well, okay, you've got me. I'll sing with the Silva.
Oh, good. We'll tell her that you're the famous Italian baritone, Enrico Goodwinaldo.
Enrico Goodwinaldo? Oh, no, that's too much.
Go on, Francis. What happened on October 10th?
Well, I had my eyebrows plucked. Never mind, I'll do it.
Ah, you sweet Bill, and I'm glad we did it this way. At first, we tried to flatter you into it, but that's low and deceitful.
Oh, yes. Blackmail is much more sporting.
Well, we've got our male singer, Gracie, but there's another problem. George will never let Madame de Silva go on your radio program.
Oh, right. Not after the way she insulted him. I've got it. We'll make George think he's got a terrible cold and is too sick to go on. And then we can take over the whole program.
How did you say that?
I'll go out and work on him first. I'll meet all of you at the studio in half an hour.
We'll leave one at a time, and as we go, each one will tell George how sick he looks.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'll go out and get his cold started.
Meeting over there?
Gesundheit.
Huh?
I said Gesundheit.
What?
You sneezed.
I did?
Didn't you hear it?
No.
Goodness, your head is really stopped up.
Gracie.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit?
Oh, you heard that one, huh?
Gracie, I do not have a cold. Do you understand that?
Yes, dear.
Fine.
Gesundheit.
I sneezed again?
Yes. Oh, you better get right to bed, dear.
I will not. We've got a radio show. We've got a radio show to do tonight.
Well, forget our show, George. Your health comes first.
But I can't disappoint the people who tune in. They're expecting me to be funny.
Well, they've expected it for years, dear. One day won't matter.
Gracie, there's no reason...
I'll run in the bathroom and get you some pills. You just sit there and relax, dear.
Fuss about nothing. I'm okay. At least I think I am.
George, will you tell Gracie that I left?
Why, sure, Mrs. Martin.
And tell her that... George, stick out your tongue. Well, don't lose courage. Penicillin may pull you through.
Huh?
Goodbye, George.
I don't like the way she said that. Wonder if I do look sick.
Oh, George, I'm leaving. Will you tell Gracie?
Why, okay, Mrs. Bagley.
You know, there's something about you today that reminds me of the husband of a friend of mine.
There is?
Yes, my friend, the widow Brown.
The widow?
Goodbye, George.
Gosh, everybody thinks so. I do ache a little.
I have to go now, George.
I'll tell Gracie, Mrs. Fowler.
And don't worry about Gracie. She'll look lovely in black.
Little Howard Greer number, I guess.
Goodbye, George.
I never felt this bad before in my life. Maybe it's my blood pressure.
I'm going out for a little while, George.
Okay, Meredith. Maybe it's my nerves.
Naturally, you can't do the show tonight, but I'll carry on for you. I know jokes about practically any subject a fella can mention.
Maybe it's my liver.
Ha! Speaking of liver...
Not now.
Well, okay. I just thought I'd comfort you in your darkest hour. An old trooper like you, well, I thought you'd like to exit laughing. Goodbye, George.
In my head. The back. Stomach. Hope I don't faint.
Well, I'm leaving, George. Is there anything I can do, even if I'm not a surgeon?
Nothing, Bill. Nothing.
Before I go, I want you to know I was always fond of you.
Thanks, Bill.
You were a good guy, George.
I was?
Yeah, and I hope your suits will fit me. Goodbye, old pal.
Gee, and I was so young.
Well, I'm back with the pills, sweetheart. Here, swallow them.
Would you drop them in my mouth? I don't think I could lift them.
Certainly, dear. There. Now, I'll go down to the studio and do the broadcast.
Goodbye.
Gesundheit.
Again I did it? Gee, it's going to seem funny to lie here in bed at home and listen to the program. It'll be the first one I've ever missed. Better tune in and see what happens. I guess Gracie and Bill will handle the comedy and Meredith will play a lot of music. It won't be bad.
Our programs continue from the NBC studios in Hollywood.
The Beverly Hills Uplift Society presents the Beverly Hills Uplift Society program, starring the Beverly Hills Uplift Society. Our program opens with the members reciting the Beverly Hills Uplift Society slogan. We always, always smile. We never, never frown. For the Uplift will never let us down.
Oh, I might have known something like this would happen.
The Beverly Hills Uplift Society, an organization of women, for women, by women, dedicates this program to women.
Oh, beautiful lady.
Men, are you thinking of getting married? Are you looking around for the right person? If so, marry a woman. Women make the best wives, the best mothers, and the best sisters. No other sex can make this statement.
Oh, beautiful lady.
Before a woman woman can become a member of the Beverly Hills Uplift Society, she must swear to abide by the woman's code, which is, a woman is thoughtful, straightforward, and modest. First, a woman is thoughtful.
I will never speak hastily or in anger to gain a slight advantage over my husband. I will be thoughtful and think out a clever plan which will really put him behind the 8 ball.
Second, a woman is straightforward.
I will not paint my face nor curl my hair to deceive men. I will leave this to a certain class of women known as beauty operators.
Third, a woman is modest.
I will not whistle at men on the street. I will not straighten my stocking seams on a busy corner, nor tug at my girdle in public.
That does it. That does it. They made me believe I was sick so that they could take over the show. Well, those hens aren't going to lay their eggs on my time. Where are my shoes?
And now, ladies and gentlemen of Radioland, we have a real treat for you. Our newest member, the famous opera singer, Madame de Silva, will perform an aria from Il Trovatore. Assisting her will be that dynamic Italian baritone, Enrico Goodwinaldo.
Maxwell House Coffee by Maxwell House. Good to the last drop. Oh, Maxwell House. Oh, Maxwell.
Mr. Ronaldo, I am afraid you got the wrong cue. Didn't you hear me say decay?
Well, sure. Didn't you hear me say de-coffee? Maxwell House is appetizing, rich, full-bodied, and mellow coffee at its full-flavored best. Good to the last drop.
But those are the wrong lyrics. This opera is in Italian.
Oh, well, I was translating into English.
If you don't mind, let's sing it in Italian.
Very well. I'll sing in Italian.
Maxwell House of Coffee. Maxwell House of Coffee.
Mr. Ronaldo! The Italian, please!
That's the one of a spin of you!
People buy and enjoy a Maxwell House of Coffee than any other brand of coffee in the whole wide world.
Stop! I refuse to sing with you. I have never been so...
Oh, but Madame de Silva, please, we're on the air. Oh, dear. Girls, fill in quickly. Ah, beautiful.
Come on, beat it. Get away from the microphone, you bats. Go on, shoot.
George, you're not in bed.
No.
Go inside.
It's not going to work anymore. Ladies and gentlemen of the radio audience, I want to apologize for what's going on here. But now you will hear the comedian you've been waiting for.
Well, thank you, George. Will someone please bring some married people?
Married people?
Ah! Speaking of married people, I remind you of the beautiful wife and children.
Until next Thursday, then, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's #1 brand of coffee, always good to the last drop.
goody Jello pudding tonight. It tastes like Grandma really more so.
You ain't kidding, that's right.
And just as Jello, 6 delicious locked-in flavors can't be beaten. So the proof of Jello pudding's in the eating.
The Jello twins are hard to find, but keep on looking in your store. When sugar shortages are over, there'll be more.
Just a taste of Jello pudding or a Jello and you know it's the one and only Jello.
Good night, folks. We're a little late.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Starring George Burns and Gracie Alice. With yours truly, Bill Goodwin, and the music of Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. Well, it's morning in the Burns home, and George has just come down to breakfast.
How about a little food, dear?
All right, George, but first there's something I'd like to ask you.
What?
Well, our radio show goes on this evening, and my club, the Beverly Hills Uplifters Society, would like to take it over.
Oh, no. You sneaked those dames on our program last week, and they set radio back 50 years.
Now, that's not fair, George. We simply made a few changes.
Some program. Everybody's laughing at you.
Well, see, that's one of the changes we made.
Forget it.
But, George, the girls are simply dying to get on the air.
And let them fly around with the other bat. That's my program, and it's going to stay my program.
Well, of course it is. We'll be on it, but you'll direct the whole thing.
Direct it?
Yes, because that takes brains, and you're the brainy one in our family. Why, compared to you, I'm only brilliant.
That's very flattering.
Yes, your darling little head just bulges with brains.
Look,
That's what makes your ears stick out that way.
Thanks for the explanation.
Oh,
but
you love being a director, George. We'll get you a chair with your name on it.
What am I supposed to do with that?
Well, you're supposed to sit in it. Of course, a man as clever as you may have a better idea.
Oh, sure.
And we'll get you a lovely desk with 10 telephones on it.
10 telephones?
Well, yes, a great executive needs at least 10.
Yes, it's convenient.
Yes. And the best feature is that you never come to the studio. You stay right here at home.
How could I direct the program from here?
You're a genius, George. You'll figure out a way.
Gracie, the Beverly Hills Uplift Society is not taking over my program.
Oh, be progressive, George. Sooner or later, women are going to take over radio, and you can start the movement.
Nothing doing.
But your name will go down in history. People will always speak of you as that progressive George Burns. That clever progressive George Burns. That brilliant, clever, progressive George Burns. Dynamic? Scintillating? No program.
No program, no. And not only do I want those dames kept off my program, but I don't want you to keep... I don't want them in the house.
Oh, yes, dear.
Every time they meet here, they come into the kitchen before I awake and gobble up all the bacon and eggs.
Yes, dear.
And now I'm ready for my breakfast.
Yes. What would you like?
Bacon and eggs and a piece of toast.
I'll get you a piece of toast.
You mean...
They're in the den.
Well, get those dames out or I'll throw them out.
You can't, George. Meredith Wilson rents the den, and he said we could meet there.
Yeah. The poor jerk lets them meet in his room because they laugh at his terrible jokes. Why, you women even took him into your club.
It was perfectly legitimate. We made him an honorary woman.
Okay, you run along and break that meeting up as soon as you can. I'll fix my toast and have a piece of cheese with it.
Oh, that reminds me, dear. Our new member, Madame De Silva, doesn't like bacon and eggs.
Don't tell me she ate the cheese.
Yes. Well, I'll see you later, dear. Quiet, dear. Quiet, please.
Well, Gracie, did you talk George into staying home so we could take over the program again?
Well, no, girls. I'm sorry to report that Plan A, making him think he was an intelligent director, didn't work.
Oh, dear.
Unfortunately, he was a little too smart to believe that he was intelligent.
What a shame. And we had such a cultural half hour all prepared.
Yes, I was going to sing 30 or 40 songs.
Well, fellow members, I guess it's up to me to clear away the gloom with a little joke. I got a pipperoo about brides, if somebody would care to mention the subject of brides.
Your turn, Madame De Silva.
Very well. Many years ago, I was a bride.
Ha! Speaking of brides, I am reminded of the recently married gentleman who said to his bride, "Sweetheart, there's something wrong with this pudding you have prepared for me." Whereupon the perplexed bride responded, "There can't be. The cookbook says it's perfectly delicious."
Is that the finish, Meredith?
Yeah?
All right, girls. Let's show our appreciation.
See, I knew it was a pipperoo.
Say, girls, there must be some way to keep George out of the studio this evening so we can put on our show. Plan A was a failure, so let's get to work on Plan B. Any suggestions?
We might give him something to make him dopey.
Nature beat us to that one.
Any other suggestions?
Well, I don't know.
All right, girls, then it's settled. Plan B will definitely be the bathtub plan.
Well, hello, Uplifters.
Oh,
Say, George says you girls are trying to get him off the radio program again. How come?
We don't want any men on the program.
Oh, now, wait a minute. You can't get rid of me, you know. I represent the sponsor. You can't go on the air without me.
Say, that's right. How can we get around this?
Well, there's only one way. We'll have to make Bill an honorary woman, too. Then he can join our club.
Oh, no. I don't want to be a woman. Not me.
But women have lots of fun, Bill. Don't the women who go out with you have fun?
Well, sure, but that's just it. If I'm a woman, I won't be able to take myself out. And if I can't go out with me, what's the fun of being a woman?
Oh, Bill, won't you change your mind?
You like being a woman?
Sure you will.
Ah, come on, be a woman.
Yeah, join us, Bill. Speaking as one who has just recently become an honorary woman, I can recommend it.
You can, Meredith?
Oh, yes. As you know, I used to be very shy and bashful around women.
Yeah?
But after 1 week of being around the Uplifters, other women don't frighten me at all.
That I can understand.
Then you refuse to become an honorary woman? You won't join our team?
Well, no, Gracie. If I join your team, it'll spoil all my scrimmaging.
Very well. Blanche, as vice president in charge of blackmail, can you dig up a little persuader out of your file?
Oh, I think I have some interesting data on Mr. Goodwin.
Oh, no. Not that again.
Here we are, December 10th. Bill Goodwin gave an engagement ring to a beautiful redhead named Patricia Ryan.
Oh, so that's her last name. I wondered about it.
On that same day, Bill Goodwin also gave engagement rings to the following girls: Elizabeth Jones, Florence Riley, Merida Stahl, Natalie Galen, Ruth Henning, and Geraldine Boggio.
Now, wait a minute. If those girls find out that I have more than one fiancé, I'll be in hot water.
Hand me the phone, Blanche. I'll light the fire.
Oh, have a heart, Gracie. Natalie Galen's father's a big game hunter. He'll shoot me.
Don't worry. You look very fetching on the wall of his den.
Yes, you'll be the first Hollywood wolf ever stuffed.
Okay, you got me. I'll join your club.
Ah, that's a good boy. You like being a woman, Bill.
Oh, yes. You're all so sweet and gentle and kind.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, here's a copy of the Beverly Hills Uplift Society Oath of Allegiance. Raise your right hand and read it.
Holy smoke, this is going to change my whole life. On my honor, I do solemnly swear that henceforth women will come first with me.
Isn't going to be as big a change as I thought.
Please, madam, this is a solemn occasion. Read on.
I do hereby agree to share with my sister members of the club any and all treasures, such as my beauty secrets, silk undies, and pre-war girdles. Oh, now, wait a minute, Gracie. I don't have to swear to that, do I?
Well, no, I guess not.
Well, that's good. I don't mind sharing the beauty secrets, but I'm running awful low on the other two.
Read on.
And last, I do hereby declare that my great objective in life shall be that of every woman. Oh, no, I can't read this.
Hand me the phone, Blanche.
Okay. My great objective in life shall be that of every woman, motherhood.
Congratulations, Bill, old man. Old girl.
Well, now that Bill is a full-fledged member of the Beverly Hills Uplifters Society, he can help us put across Plan B.
What's Plan B?
That's our next plan to keep George from showing up at the radio broadcast so we can take it over.
Yes, under Plan B, George winds up in the bathtub and all his clothes are gone.
Oh, but that's a low, mean trick, Gracie. That's underhanded stuff. Surely we wouldn't do a thing like that.
He hasn't been a woman very long, has he?
Let's go back to the Burns home where Plan B to keep George off the radio program is being launched by Gracie. Under this plan, she gets George into the bathtub to swipe his clothes. Now, personally, I don't see how she's going to do it, but you know Gracie.
So, won't you come into the den and sing for the girls, George? They're waiting to hear your glorious voice.
Are you sure this isn't a trick to get me off the program?
Get you off the program? Why, we want you to sing for the entire half hour.
I thought you wanted to broadcast culture.
We do, and what could be more culture than your voice? Well, you give the world a pearl of melody every time you open the oyster of your mouth.
Well...
Come on, darling. The girls are waiting to hear you sing.
Okay, I'll give them a little fill.
Here he is, gal. The Nightingale of Beverly Hills. Sugar Throat Burns.
Any special requests?
Sing Ain't Misbehavin'. I'm sure all the girls will swoon when they hear that, won't you, girls?
Okay. Ain't Misbehavin'.
Wait
a minute, I wasn't singing yet.
And now for his next number, Mr. will sing something which I know will be especially thrilling to our own classical singer, Madame de Silva. Shortening bread.
But I haven't even started Ain't Misbehaving.
Shortening bread for Madame de Silva.
Mammy's little baby loves shortening. Mammy's little baby loves shortening bread. Mammy's little baby.
Silver, control your ecstasy.
That was not ecstasy.
What?
It was joy, dear. That's much louder than ecstasy. But you were better than Nelson Eddy.
You really think so?
Oh, certainly, and much more convincing. Why, when you sang Shortening Bread, I could actually smell it.
The same goes for Ain't Misbehaving. Gracie, how does this get him into the bathtub so he can grab his clothes?
Well, you see. Yes, girls, my husband was magnificent, but you haven't heard anything until you hear him sing in the bathtub.
I see.
It's true, the bathtub seems to give my voice some added resonance and depth.
Yes. Well, why don't you jump in now, darling?
Well, I've had one bath today, but I like baths.
Oh, good.
I guess I'm just the caveman type. Makes me feel so good to get rid of my clothes for a while.
Yes. Well, this bath is going to keep you happy for a long time.
Okay. Now listen closely, girls. I may hit a high speed.
Oh, okay, girls. Our objective is in sight. As soon as he gets into the tub, we'll get all his clothes. Blanche, you take his other suits from the closet.
All right.
And, Clara, you take his shirts and ties.
Okay.
And, Madame Silva, you bring his shoes and socks.
Very well.
Well, Gracie, what if he wraps a towel around himself and chases it?
Oh, don't worry. There isn't a towel in the house that'll go all the way around George. Now, hurry. We'll meet at Bill Goodwin's house in 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Burns. I've been ringing your door buzzer a long time. You look awfully old and tired today, Mrs. Burns.
I'm not Mrs. Burns. I'm Mr. Burns.
But you're wearing a dress.
I know I'm wearing a dress. That's all the clothes I could find.
My goodness, I didn't know the shortage of men's clothes was that bad.
Look, Mr.
I hope the returning servicemen won't have to wear dresses. The poor fellows won't know who's whistling at who.
You don't understand, Mr. Postman. I have clothes, but my wife took them.
Oh, I see.
She did it with the help of her club. I'd give anything to break it up.
I know how you feel. I finally broke up my wife's club.
You did? How?
She hit me too hard over the head with it.
I don't mean that kind of a club. I mean a collection of women called the Beverly Hills Uplifters Society.
Oh, but why did they swipe your clothes?
They want to take over my radio program. Naturally, I can't do a broadcast in just my underwear.
You're right. Let's not kill television before it gets started.
Well, those dames haven't outsmarted me. I called NBC and told them not to let any women in my studio tonight.
A shrewd move.
Well, we can't let women get the upper hand. We men are masters, and we're going to stay the masters.
Your dreams are getting better all the time.
Well, so long, Mr. Postman. See you later.
Goodbye, Mr. Burns.
What was that for?
That short dress shows your legs.
Not bad, huh?
I wish my wife had legs like yours.
Really?
Yes. Then when she got after me, I could run between them and escape. Well, goodbye. Remember, keep smiling.
Well, girls, are you all comfortable?
Oh, yes. Charming little place you have, Bill.
Oh, thank you.
I like the way your walls are simply covered with pictures. Oh, there must be hundreds of them.
Well, yes, Mrs. Morton, but they're not so good. I'm having some better ones taken next week.
Well, now that you're one of us, Bill, we can tell you that taking over George's program is only the beginning.
Really?
Yes. According to our plan, women will gradually take over all the programs.
No. Well, how can women fill the place of singers like Crosby and Sinatra and Haynes?
Oh, that's easy. The place taken by all three of them can be filled by Kate Smith alone.
You're so right. But you'll have to replace the classical singers, too, Gracie. What about John Charles Thomas?
We'll replace those three with the Andrews sisters.
Well, you're really crowding the men right out of the picture?
Yes, there'll only be one exception. Phil Spitalny's wife will be allowed to have an all-boy orchestra.
Well, I suppose that's only fair.
However, you mustn't think that our motives are purely selfish. When we take over radio, we will benefit less fortunate women.
How?
Well, the Old Maids of America will sponsor a quiz program for male contestants. If a man misses a question, he has to marry one of the sponsors.
And the questions won't be easy.
Isn't that a wonderful plan? We'll call the program Take It and Love It.
Wait a minute. Suppose the guy isn't happy with her.
Well, then he can tell his problem to Madam Anthony.
Well, you certainly have figured all the angles.
Yep, we're tired of it being a man's world.
And when we women take over radio, it'll be run smoothly and efficiently. No quarrels, no jealousies, no dissension.
Sounds great.
Well, now, let's decide what each of us will do on the program this evening. Madam De Silva, what will you contribute?
I intend to sing the bell song from Lakshmi.
Why don't you sing a song about the Liberty Bell, dear?
Why? Would that suit my voice better?
Yes, it has a crack in it.
You tone-deaf ignoramus.
Item 1, solo by Madam De Silva. Now, what will you contribute, Clara?
Well, I thought I'd give a talk on fashion trends. I design all my own clothes, you know.
Did you design that peculiar garment that you're wearing?
Yes, and what's peculiar about it?
It resembles a tent pitched by a very young Boy Scout.
Why, you dowdy old frump.
Item 2, fashion talk by Clara Bassett. Now, what about you, Blanche?
I'll give a Shakespearean recitation. You? Why not? When I was a girl, I learned everything Shakespeare wrote.
When you were a girl, he hadn't written much.
Why, you illiterate hillbilly.
Item 3, Shakespearean recitation by Blanche Morton. Now, you see how smoothly we're getting things, Bill?
Yeah, fascinated, Grace.
Now, let's run through the opening.
Okay.
Bill, you read the announcement.
All right, Gracie. Presenting the Beverly Hills Uplift Society and radio's first all-woman program.
Oh, beautiful ladies.
Women of the world, arise. Let us shake off the chains of slavery and build a better world. A world in which there will be no men, just women and children. And now for this evening's first tidbit of culture, here's Blanche Morton with a Shakespearean recitation.
The quality of mercy is not strange. It droppeth as a gentle rain from heaven. Upon the place beneath it is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. His mightiest of the mightiest.
Just a minute, please, Mrs. Morton. Who would listen to that? Oh, come in.
Good afternoon, Mr. Goodwin. Here's your mail.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Postman. Say, I guess you're kind of surprised to find a dozen women in my house, huh?
Yes, that's not as many as usual.
Mr. Postman, I don't suppose you saw anyone in my house.
Oh, I saw your husband, Mrs. Burns.
Well, how could that be? You couldn't see the tub from the front door.
Yes, I could. He's the one who opened this.
I meant my husband was in the bathtub with no clothes.
Oh, he put on one of your dresses.
Oh, good night. George can't wear my dresses. Those shoulders are too narrow.
Really?
Certainly, the dresses slide right over them. Well, come on, girls. Let's get to the studio and do the broadcast.
Yes. Just a moment, ladies. I'm afraid it's no use. Mr. Burns told NBC that no women were to be allowed in his studio tonight.
Oh, well, that does it. We might as well take George's clothes back. George's clothes? That's it. We'll put on his clothes and walk right in.
But, Gracie, even in a suit, my figure won't look like a man.
Well, we'll pad you a little, dearie.
Now, just a minute. Girls, hurry and put on George's suit. We'll go into the studio as men.
Well, goodbye, girl, fellow, well, whatever you are. Remember, keep smiling.
Now, look, Mr. Dorman. I know you've got orders not to let any women into Studio D, but I'm not a woman.
Beat it, sister.
Look, I got on my wife's dress because my clothes were stolen. I'm a man.
With them hips.
Honest, I'm George Burns.
Sure, and I'm Lawrence the car. You ain't crashing this gate, sister.
I tell you I'm George Burns, and if you don't let me...
Good evening, Mr. Doorman.
Oh, evening, Mr. Wilson.
Oh, Meredith, you're just in time. Oh, no. It's Gracie and the Uplifters. They're wearing my suits.
You really are screwy, sister.
Honest, all those men are women. The little fellow in the green suit is my wife.
These are the new members of my orchestra, Mr. Doorman. Mr. Morton?
Trombone.
Mr. Bagley?
Bass drum.
Mr. De Silva?
Zither.
And Mr. Allen.
Pipe organ.
Okay, gents, go right on through.
Gracie, you can't do this to me.
One side, madam. We have a program to do.
Well, this is the end.
This is Bill Goodwin speaking. This rebroadcast of the George Burns and Gracie Allen Show is a presentation of the Armed Forces Radio Service.
It's Maxwell House Coffee Time, starring George Burns and Gracie Allen. With yours truly, Bill Goodwin, and the music of Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. For deep down laughs and listening enjoyment is George and Gracie. And for deep down coffee drinking enjoyment, it's Maxwell House. With extra flavor in the blend because of choice Latin American coffees. Skillfully combined. Extra flavor in the cup because Radiant Roast develops the full flavor of every coffee bean. And the result is that today more people buy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world. Well, as we look in at the Burns home today, the atmosphere is a little tense. Gracie's just been called on the carpet by her lord and master.
Sit down, Gracie.
Yes, dear.
Now, before we start this discussion, I want to warn you that none of your tricks will work. So don't bother to flatter me, cry, or make love to me.
George, do you think that when I flatter you, cry, or make love to you, that those are tricks?
Yes. Tricks to stall off a discussion.
But you're so handsome, George. So incredibly handsome. Kiss me, volcano lips. Okay, let's start the discussion.
Okay. Now, Gracie, marriage is based upon the principles of give and take, share and share alike, compromise.
Yeah, I know, Dolly, and that's the way I try to live it. When I go to the movies and you want to go to sleep, we compromise. You sleep in the movies.
Yes, you're sweet that way. But the problem I want to talk to you about right now is bigger than movies.
Oh, I know what it is. You want to ball me out for bending the fender on the car. Well, go ahead. I deserve it.
When did you bend the fender on the car?
You didn't know I did it?
No.
Oh, what a sneaking little informer I turned out to be.
We'll take care of that later. Right now, I want to talk to you about Meredith Wilson.
Meredith Wilson?
Yes. 4 weeks ago, you rented our den to him. And since then, he's been driving me out of my mind with those jokes of his. Gracie, he's got to go.
Oh, but Judge Meredith is so sweet.
But he's such a jerk. He never says hello like an ordinary human being. He goes right into one of those broken-down jokes of his. Like, speaking of door hinges, I tell you, I can't stand it.
Oh, Judge, you're exaggerating.
What? Well, hello, folks. Meredith, did you say hello?
Yes, I did. That's what I said. Hello, I said.
See?
Well, I guess I made a mistake.
Speaking of mistakes.
Oh, no.
I reminded of
Meredith, not now. Not now, Meredith.
You don't want to hear my anecdote?
No.
It's a real rib tickler.
Well, I'm not in the mood to have my ribs tickled. Don't even want them touched. Look, Meredith, do you know a nice hotel where you might get a room?
Why, it just so happens I do, George.
Good.
The manager of the Hotel Bottomley is a friend of mine.
Fine.
I can get a room there any time I want it.
Wonderful. Why don't you move in?
If I ever go back to Cincinnati, I certainly will.
Oh, it's in Cincinnati?
Yes, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Thanks. Thought it might be Cincinnati, Portugal. Or Cincinnati, Persia.
You sure have been everywhere, George.
Yeah, I traveled a lot, Meredith.
Speaking of travel...
Oh, go, Meredith.
I'm
go
reminded...
in the den, Meredith, later with those jokes. Goodbye. Gracie, if you don't get that man out of this house by sundown, I'm leaving you.
Oh, George, don't say that. You know I couldn't live without you.
Well, that's too bad.
I love you, darling. You're my whole life. Without you, I'm just an empty shell. Just a husk who's lost her corn.
I can't help it.
Oh, please, George, say you didn't mean it. Beat me, but don't leave me.
I'm leaving.
All right, leave. But come back now and then and beat me.
Well, goodbye, Gracie. I'm not... Come in.
Hi, Burnses. What's new?
Oh, Bill, our home is breaking up.
Really? Why?
Could you stand it in the same house with a dope who does nothing but tell bad jokes?
Well, no, George, I couldn't, but Gracie loves you.
Really? Make an entrance once in a while.
Oh, I do love him, Bill. If George leaves me, I won't be able to eat. I won't be able to sleep.
Well, Gracie, you won't be able to sleep. It's George who won't be able to eat.
Look, funny, man. I was talking about Meredith Wilson telling jokes, not me. And unless my wife gets him out of this house, I'm leaving. Gracie, I'll be in my room packing. And you know how to stop.
Oh, dear. Wish you hadn't teased him, Bill. George is so easily upset.
Really? As heavy as he is around the base?
Oh, Bill, be serious. Even if he doesn't leave, he might do something desperate. You know that violent temper of his.
Oh, sure.
Why, he might grab a butcher knife and run into the den while Meredith is asleep and carve "I hate you" on the wall.
Yeah, the little man's a tiger.
Yeah. Well, I'll just have to make Meredith leave. Here goes. Meredith.
Yes, Gracie?
Meredith, That is, you... Well, you see, you've just got to...
Yes, Gracie?
Meredith, don't look at me like that with those big, wet, brown eyes. Oh, they look so frightened, like a cow who sees the farmer coming with a milk pail and cold hands.
Well, that look isn't fright at all, Gracie. It's admiration.
Well, that's good, because there's something I have... Admiration?
Gosh, yes. You know, before I moved in here with you and George, I used to think I'd never get married. But now that I've seen how wonderful a wife can be, I've changed my mind.
Well, thank you, Meredith.
Of course, I'll probably never find a wife as pretty or as smart as you are.
Oh, sure you will. Somewhere there might be one.
Why, just being in the same house with you is like having the sunshine all the time.
Gee.
But enough of this. You had something to tell me.
Well, never mind that. Let's have some more of this.
What did you say?
Let's have some more of this.
Well, no, really, Gracie, what did you come in here to tell me?
Well, I came to tell you...
Yes, Gracie?
I came to tell you that you'll have 2 extra blankets on your bed tonight.
Well, Gracie, did you tell him?
Oh, gee, I couldn't, George. I just couldn't. Did you ever see his eyes? He looks like a cow.
Well, tell him to leave a pint of half and half and get out of here.
Well, I'll try again when I get back from the market.
Oh, don't bother. I'll figure some way to get Meredith out of the den. But in the future, please remember that this is our house. And I don't want anybody in here but us.
Yes, dear. But don't do anything rough to Meredith. Boy, I've come to think of him as one of the family. It's like you're his father and I'm his sister.
Run along, sis, and do your marketing.
Here's the rest of your groceries, Mrs. Burns. Want me to carry them to the car for you?
Oh, no, thanks. I can manage. Goodbye. I'll see you. Oh!
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Oh, well, why don't you look for Kyser?
Hello, Gracie. Gee, I'm sorry I bumped into you. I'm just so tired I don't know where I'm going. I haven't slept a wink in 4 nights.
Oh, you poor man. You've probably been studying your music too hard.
Oh, I don't study music, Gracie. I don't have to know anything about it. I'm a leader.
That's right. Well, what is the trouble then?
Well, my wife, Georgia, has a bunch of girls staying at the house. You know, Powers girls she used to work with. All those women do is gab. I've just got to get one night's sleep.
Well, have you tried to get a hotel room?
Yeah, that isn't easy in this town. The earliest I can get one is Monday.
Well, Monday isn't so bad.
This is Monday, August 18th.
Oh.
1948. I just got to get some sleep tonight. Say, Gracie, is there any chance that you and George might let me sleep at your house for just one?
No, I couldn't possibly let you stay at our house.
Well, I wouldn't be any trouble. I could sleep in the den.
Oh, don't even say that word.
Well, all right. Forget it. I'll find a park bench somewhere. It's just that I'll collapse if I don't get some sleep.
Hey, don't look at me like that with those big, wet, brown eyes.
Huh?
Oh, dear, another whole scene. Well, all right, Kay, you can stay at our house tonight.
Oh, bless you, Gracie. I knew a girl as sweet and pretty as you must have Southern hospitality in her heart.
Oh, thank you.
You know, down south, we don't turn any man away from our door. Why, we'd even give a dish of oatmeal to a hungry Republican. No spoon, of course.
Well, you come over tonight and you can have the couch in the den. I'd give you the bed, but Meredith Wilson sleeps there.
Oh, I know Meredith. Darn good musician.
Oh, yes. You two can discuss music. Well, anyway, he can. You can just nod.
Well, I don't plan to do much discussing. All I want is sleep.
Well, whatever you want, you can have. I'll show you that we Californians know all about Southern hospitality.
Thank you.
I'll make you think you're back in the land of Robert E. Mason and so on to Dixon.
Well,
the old folks drumming on their bayous and chitlin blooming in the yard.
Well, don't go to any trouble, Gracie. All I want is sleep. Well, I'll be over about 9 o'clock. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, now I've done it. I've got Kay Kyser in the den, too. Why did I have to meet a cow who wears glasses?
Meredith Wilson and his chiffon arrangement of California. Say, Meredith, isn't that tune one of Jerome Kern's?
Yes, Bill. One of the last he composed and destined to join the parade of immortal Kern melodies.
A beautiful melody picture in praise of California, which naturally brings to mind a lot of wonderful scenes. The redwoods, orange groves, beautiful old missions, contrast of desert, mountains, and sea, all a dramatic part of our American scene. And I can't help thinking, too, how, in its way, Maxwell House coffee is an important part of the American scene, for America is a nation of coffee lovers. And Maxwell House is bought and enjoyed by more people than any other brand. For Maxwell House is so full-flavored. You see, master craftsmen choose these choice Latin American coffees. Manizales for mellowness. Medellins for richness. Other choice Latin American coffees for vigor. And Bucaramangas for full body. And then these fine coffees are so skillfully combined that the result is true harmony. Yes, the blend is so harmonious that more people just naturally say Maxwell House when buying coffee. It's dependably good to the last drop. George, what are you rigging up with all the electric wires and stuff?
I finally figured out a way to get rid of Meredith Wilson. I'm wiring his bed.
George, you mean?
Yes. Wait till he hops in tonight. He'll get more shocks than the night he read Forever Amber.
You know, this seems like the hard way, though. Couldn't you just hint to Meredith that you'd like him to leave?
Hint? Bill, hinting is no good when a guy is a jerk.
Well, let me do the hinting for you.
I don't know you meant that, but I'm still suspicious. Just help me rig up this booby crap before Gracie gets back.
Okay.
I'll run this wire out of the den window here, and then tonight, when Meredith's asleep, we'll give him the works. Well, why don't you let him stay, George? Maybe you'll get to like his jokes.
Bill, I won't like his jokes if I live to be 100.
Well, you might, and that's only a couple of days to wait.
Let's get busy and wire the bed.
Okay.
Well, here I am, Gracie, and I sure am ready for some sleep.
Oh, quick, Kay, into the den. The couch is ready.
But I ought to say hello to George and thank him for his hospitality.
Oh, no. He mustn't see you.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? Oh, why not? He's not well. No, he's got something.
Oh. And if he sees me, I might catch it.
Yeah. And I'd catch it even worse. Now, quick, let's go into the den. Well, Meredith, here's our guest.
Hello, Kay. Well, hello, Meredith. Sure is nice of you to let me move in with you.
Not at all. I just hope you can stand sleeping in the same room with me. You see,
You snore?
Worse than that. I'm a Yankee.
Man, I'm so tired I could sleep with General Grant, beard and all. That couch sure does look good.
No, okay. You take the bed. I'll take the couch.
Kay, Meredith is right. This is our chance to show you some real Southern hospitality.
Well, I'm just too tired to argue. Okay, I'll take the bed.
Oh, fine. I guess I really should serve you some Southern food before you turn in. A nice hot bowl of weevils or something.
No. I very seldom eat weevils. Really, all I want is a little sleep. I haven't slept in 4 nights, you know.
Oh, well, just as you wish. And now I'll go and fix you a mint julep.
I wish you wouldn't go to any trouble. If I could just go to sleep.
Oh, it's no trouble. This is Southern hospitality, Kay.
Oh, I had to open my big accent.
Well, I'll go get your julep while you climb into your pajamas or nightshirt or whatever you wear.
I sleep in my birthday suit.
Oh, well, put it on and zip it up. I'll go fix your julep.
Oh, I'm so sleepy, I'm not even going to take off my clothes. Good night, Meredith.
Good night, Kay.
Well, if I do say so myself, that's a lovely mint julep. I'll take it right up to Kay.
Gracie, what have you got there?
Oh, you startled me, George.
What's in the glass?
It's a mint julep.
Mint julep? Who's it for?
It's for me.
For you? Boy, you've never taken a drink in your life.
Oh, that's what you think. Boy, when you're not around, I drink like a fish. I'm a kleptomaniac.
That's a person who steals.
I mean, I'm a hypochondriac.
It's a person who thinks he's sick.
Oh. Well, I don't know the technical name for it, but I'm just no rum pot.
Oh, stop.
It's true, dear. For years I've been in the grip of John Bollyoats. John Bollywheat? Joe Bollywheat.
Don't be ridiculous. You don't know what liquor tastes like.
Honest, this very minute I'm loaded.
Gracie.
Happy New Year!
Look, Gracie.
That's right, preach to me. But it won't make a difference.
Oh, will you please stop?
Why don't you see what the back in the boys' room will have?
Okay, that's enough. I know that julep is not for you.
Sweet
Oh, cut it out. You were headed for the den when I first saw you. That julep is for Meredith, isn't it?
Meredith? Oh, yes. That's who it's for. I just didn't want you to know what a fiendish plan I figured out to get rid of him.
Giving him juleps will get rid of him?
Well, sure, because I make such wonderful ones. He'll want more and more, and pretty soon he'll be in the grip of Joe Bollyoats. Joe Bollyhays? Bill Bolly.
Sam Newman. What difference does it? It won't get Meredith out of the house.
Well, it might get him lost for a weekend.
Well, go ahead, take him to Julep if it'll make you happy. But I've got a plan that'll get him out anyway.
Oh, thanks, dear. Well, Kay, here's your mint julep. Hey!
What?
I say, here's your mint julep. It'll help you sleep.
Yes. When you came in, I was pacing the floor.
Well, dig it down.
Okay, anything to get some sleep. Bottoms up.
Delicious, huh?
Are you sure you know how to make a mint julep?
Well, of course. Sugar and mint leaves and whiskey.
And that's what you put in this one?
Well, we were out of sugar, so I used raspberry jam.
Oh.
And there weren't any mint leaves, so I used parsley.
Oh.
And we don't keep whiskey in the house, but I found some cough syrup that's 80% alcohol. But outside of that, it was just like you make them down south.
Yes, it was in a glass, if that's what you mean.
Would you like another one?
Oh, no. No, thanks. I'm going to have enough trouble explaining this one to my stomach.
Oh, I knew you'd love it. Well, good night, Kay.
I think Meredith is finally asleep, Bill. I can hear him snoring through the den window here.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're ready to give him the works, huh? Now, just what happens when you set off that contraption in his bed?
First of all, the wire under a sheet gives him 110 volts.
Oh, that's wonderful. Sort of a full-length hot foot.
Yeah. Now he grabs the chain on his bed light, gives it a yank, and a bucket of water falls on his head.
Sensational.
Now a bunch of cowbells and stuff drop on him.
That's terrific.
Now he leaps out of bed, sticks his feet in his bedroom slippers. They're wired.
No. You mean?
Another 110 volts.
George, you're a genius.
Now he reaches for the bathrobe, catches his fingers in a mousetrap, and...
But now, wait a minute. If he catches his fingers in a mousetrap, he won't be able to use them.
That's right. You see?
He won't be able to pick up his cup of Maxwell House coffee at breakfast.
That's right. You see?
George, there's a limit to how cruel you can be to a man. That's inhuman to deprive a man of his Maxwell House coffee. Why, Maxwell House is appetizing, rich, full-bodied, and mellow. Coffee at its full-flavored best, good to the last drop. And you want to fix poor Meredith so he can't drink it. Shame on you. You're a fiend.
But you were perfectly willing to electrocute him and fracture a skull with buckets of ice water.
All right, that's good, clean fun. But not to let a man drink Maxwell House coffee. Why, more people buy and enjoy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world.
Now, Bill...
Don't touch me, you monster. I don't want any more to do with this diabolical scheme. I'm going home.
All right, go home.
Shame on you.
Oh, go home, go home.
You dirty person.
Oh, go. I don't need him to set this thing off. I'll do it myself. Here goes.
Where's the light?
What happened?
Mrs. Burns, you make the doggonest mint julep I ever
Okay, I'm so glad you liked it.
I haven't had many a julep in my day, but that's the first one that ever hit me after I was asleep. And I mean it felt like a jolt of lightning ran up my back. I even heard bells.
Oh, well, that's just part of my southern hospitality, Kay. I'll bet you really felt down south.
You ain't kidding. I felt it clear down around Memphis.
Well, I'll go fix you another one.
Oh, no. No, please.
Oh, all right. Well, whatever you say. Well, sleep tight.
Thanks. I just did. You know, Kay, that julep must have been strong. I didn't even taste it, and I heard those bells.
I'll tell you, man, she must have put a uranium in that thing. Why, I'm wringing wet. I'd better put on these bedroom slippers and see.
What happened?
That doggone julep just reached my feet. Hey, wait a minute. These slippers are wired. And there's wires in the bed, too. Somebody's trying to electrocute me. Sammy Kay! I'm getting out of here.
Well, Gracie will be hurt if you're turned down her Southern hospitality.
I don't mind Southern hospitality, but I don't want to be Southern fried.
Kay, come back.
No, sir. I'm getting my white meat out of this skillet. Goodbye.
Now, that's funny. I slept in that bed for 4 weeks, and I never noticed those wires.
Well, I finally got rid of Meredith.
You did?
Yeah. Meredith!
Yes, old man?
Gracie, come here.
What is it, dear?
Gracie, if Meredith is still here, who is that guy I saw running out of the house?
Oh, that must have been Kay Kyser.
Kay Kyser?
Yeah, he was sleeping in our den, too.
Meredith Wilson and Kay Kyser? Who have you got in the bureau drawers?
Oh, George.
Harry James is probably staying with Meredith, too.
Oh, don't be silly. If you were Harry James, would you?
Sit down, young lady. We're going to have a little talk.
Yes, dear.
Now, none of your tricks. Don't bother to flatter me, cry, or make love to me.
George, you're so incredibly handsome.
Now, don't start that. Oh, come on.
Kiss me,
Join us again next week when we'll all be back. George Burns, Gracie Allen, Meredith Wilson and his orchestra, and yours truly, Bill Goodwin.
Until next Thursday, then, good night and good luck. From the makers of Maxwell House, America's #1 brand of coffee. Always good to the last drop.
Gracie, what am I going to do with you? Every week you disobey me.
Oh, no more, George. I've turned over a new leaf. From now on, I'm your slave. I'm yours to command. I'll obey every one of your wishes.
You mean that?
Just try me.
Okay. No more hats this year.
Try me again.
I thought so. Good night.
Kay Kyser appeared through the courtesy of the Colgate Palmolive Beef Company.
Oh, goody, goody, Jello pudding tonight. It tastes like Grandma's, only more so.
You ain't kidding, that's right. And just as Jello's 6 delicious locked-in flavors can't be beaten. So the proof of Jello pudding's in the eating.
The Jello twins are hard to find, but keep on looking in your store. When sugar shortages are over, there'll be more.
Just a taste of Jello pudding or a Jello and you know it's the one and only Jello.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
It's Maxwell House Coffee Time, starring George Burns and Gracie Allen. With yours truly, Bill Goodwin, and the music of Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. For deep down laughs and listening enjoyment, it's George and Gracie. And for deep down coffee drinking enjoyment, it's Maxwell House, with extra flavor in the blend because of choice Latin American coffees skillfully combined. Extra flavor in the cup because Radiant Roast develops the full flavor of every coffee bean. And the result is that today more people buy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world. You know, folks, the George Burnses are so happily married that a newspaper has chosen them for the finals in its search to pick Hollywood's happiest Mr. and Mrs. We find Gracie now talking to a woman from the newspaper.
And so, Mrs. Burns, our search for Hollywood's ideal husband and wife has narrowed down to you and one other couple.
Well, this is a wonderful surprise, Miss Messenger. But really, George and I aren't so much. We're just plain, ordinary, everyday, delightful people.
Well, Mrs. Burns, since you're so happily married, perhaps you have some advice to pass along to young girls in the matter of choosing the right husband.
Yes, I have. When I was very young, I made up my mind that I would find the perfect man. Man with personality, looks, brains, talent, and charm. I searched for 3 years before I finally married George Burns.
Then your advice to young girls would be?
Do just what I did. Give up the hope for search and marry the man you love.
And what is your recipe for staying happily married?
Well, personally, I try to observe the mistakes that other wives make and avoid making those mistakes myself.
What kind of mistake?
Oh, now, for example, I've seen women ask their husbands for $10 to pay an installment on the radio, and then take that money and buy a hat with it.
How true.
Well, if my husband gives me $10 to pay a radio installment, I pay the radio installment. If I need a hat, I use the rent money.
I see.
I can get a much better hat that way.
I understand how using the rent money gets you a better hat. But does that make your husband happy?
Oh, yes, he loves to move.
Well, Mrs. Burns, isn't it difficult to maintain a career and a home at the same time? I mean, isn't it drudgery to come home from the studio and have to cook dinner?
Miss Ettinger, if you were cooking for the one you love, would you call it drudgery?
No, I guess I wouldn't.
Well, neither does George.
You mean your husband does the cooking?
Oh, now, please don't get the idea that George cooks all the meals. He doesn't.
Oh, I see.
Twice a week we eat out.
I must confess that your methods for maintaining a happy marriage are a little unorthodox. However, if you can prove to me that you and your husband are happier than the Galens, you'll win the contest.
The Galens?
They're the other couple in the finals. I'm on my way to observe their home life now. At 1 o'clock, I shall return to observe you and Mr. Burns.
Well, I'm sure you'll find us the happiest couple in Hollywood. Why, the minute we wake up in the morning, we have a good, hearty laugh.
Well, what do you laugh about?
Oh, I laugh at my husband's long, woolly underwear.
Well, why does he laugh?
Oh, it tickles him, too.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Burns. I shall see you at 1.
Goodbye, Miss Ettinger. Oh, George! Oh, wait a minute. I'd better not tell George about this. If he knows the woman is watching us, he'll be self-conscious and won't crack a smile. Oh,
Did you call me, dear?
Oh, well, yes, darling. Dear, would you say that we're happily married?
Of course we are. We've been happily married for 11 years.
Oh, 11 years. Pretty good for this town, isn't it?
You bet.
Remember when we'd been married 2 days, they called us the grand old couple of Hollywood?
That's right.
Our marriage has been successful because we realized that married people have to give up certain things. Remember how I asked you to give up betting on the races?
Yep, and I gave it up.
You certainly did. And remember how you asked me to stop buying so many hats?
Yep.
You gave that up, too.
I certainly did.
Yes, you're a wonderful husband, George. I was lucky to get you. In fact, I guess I'm one person who was lucky at cards and lucky in love, too.
Really?
Yes. Whether it was poker or marriage, I got the pot.
Thanks, kid.
Oh, I didn't mean that the way it sounded. I meant that you're a prize, not that you have a pot.
I see.
I love you, darling, and I'd love you just as much if you didn't have one.
Thanks again.
Do you love me as much as I love you?
Of course I do.
Well, I'd like to hear you say, darling, I love you.
Okay. Darling,
I like to hear those things, you know.
All right. Darling,
You can't just take them for granted.
Okay.
I want to hear you say that you love me.
Darling.
Just small little words.
Darling.
It means so much to us, then.
Darling.
Yes, sentimental.
Gracie.
Yes?
Darling, I love you.
Oh, now, you see, that wasn't hard, was it? Say it again.
Darling,
Oh, I like to hear those things, you know.
I'll try it again tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, good morning, folks.
Oh, good morning, Meredith. Meredith, do you realize that George and I have been happily married for 11 years now?
11 years?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, have you been married that long, Gracie?
Yes, I have, Meredith. 11 years. Half my life.
Gracie, you were not 11 when you married me. If you were under 18, you would have needed your mother's consent. And believe me, that we didn't have.
Did your mother dislike George, Gracie?
Well, I wouldn't say she disliked him. I'd say she sort of despised him.
The feeling was mutual.
You know that place in the wedding ceremony where the man says, if anyone can show cause why these two should not be married, let him speak now?
Yes.
Well, Mama got up and filibustered.
But we've been very, very happy, Meredith. Why don't you get married?
Me? Oh, I guess I will someday if the right girl ever proposes to me.
It's up to you to do the proposing. Haven't you ever been in love?
Oh, yes, George. I had quite a case on a girl once. She played the harp in my orchestra. Fine musician.
You liked her, huh?
Very much. Her cadenzas were remarkable.
Well, I guess there's nothing like a girl with remarkable cadenzas. Unless one that sings baritone.
Meredith, what happened with you and this girl?
Well, we used to get in my coupe and drive up on Lookout Mountain. And, well, if I may use an overworked expression, we made beautiful music together.
Oh? Well, why did you break up?
It just got to be too much work getting that harp in and out of the coupe.
Meredith, you're a ball of fire. Look, why didn't you drive up on Lookout Mountain without the harp?
That was all she could play.
Oh, Meredith, you really should find a girl and propose. To show you how wonderful married life is, look at George and me. 11 years without a single quarrel.
Well, we had one little quarrel once, didn't amount to anything.
No, I don't believe we've ever quarreled, dear.
Well, I think we have, darling. A little tiny
No,
quarrel.
precious, we haven't.
But I remember it was
George, we have never quarreled.
But I remember you fussing at me.
I have never raised my voice to you, but never. Well, answer me, have I?
Well,
Well, don't you dare talk back to me.
talk back to you if I want to.
No, you won't. Now apologize.
All right, I apologize.
And then I was right.
You were right, you were right.
Oh, you see, Meredith, I was right. 11 years without a single
quarrel.
That's remarkable.
Come in.
Hi, Burnses. Well, hello, Meredith.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. What's
Well,
new?
congratulations are in order, Bill. George and I have stayed happily married in Hollywood for 11 years.
Well, congratulations,
Thanks.
Gracie. 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Gracie, let me look at you. You know, it just doesn't seem possible that you've been married that long. And George, let me look at you. Only 11 years, huh?
Never mind, comedian. You're another guy who ought to be thinking seriously of marriage.
Who, me?
Yeah, he's right, Bill. You and Meredith should get married.
You think we'd be happy?
You know what she meant. Get yourselves wives. Marriage is the healthy, happy state of living. It's really hippie.
Yeah.
You have to be happy.
Yeah. Now, suppose Anthony never married Cleopatra.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose Romeo had never married Juliet.
They didn't.
You see, and they're all dead.
Gracie, you're wasting your time. Marriage just doesn't appeal to me.
Oh, but Bill, you're so popular. Well, you could marry dozens of girls.
Really? Dozens? It's beginning to appeal to me.
Take it from me, Bill. You'll find one wife makes plenty to support.
Well, I guess you're right, George. One wife certainly makes plenty to support you.
I'm going in the den and read the paper. See you later, comic.
Okay, straight man.
Oh, Bill, now you've upset him. If he isn't happy by 1 o'clock, we'll lose the contest.
What contest?
Well, George doesn't know it, but we're in the finals of Hollywood's Happy Marriage Contest.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry, Gracie. I didn't know.
Well, I've just got to get him in a gay mood by 1 o'clock. Oh, I know. I'll go in and entertain him. Excuse me, Bill. George?
What?
Want to see a card trick?
No.
Well, watch my hands very carefully. Now you see the ace of spades. Now you don't. Now the ace of spades. Now you don't. Now you see the ace of spades.
Wait a minute.
Now you don't.
Wait a minute. Hold it. I never did see the ace of spades.
Oh, well, I haven't learned how to do it with the cards yet.
This is great. This is great.
Wasn't that an amusing trick? Are you happy?
No, I'm not happy.
Oh. Well, here's a joke I heard on the bus yesterday. A man came home and found his wife sitting in the bathtub with no water in it. So he said, honey, there's no water in the tub. And she said, I know it.
That's the joke you heard on the bus?
Uh-huh.
That's the whole joke?
Yeah, well, George, you're not laughing.
Is that the entire joke?
Well, there must have been more, but I had to get off at 3rd of the month.
Gracie.
Are you happy?
No, I'm not happy.
Oh, George, you're very difficult. I'll try another card trick. Think of a card.
Oh, no. Ace of spades.
It's Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. Say, Meredith, when I heard you rehearse that tune you're playing, I thought what a lot of pleasure it's bound to give many people.
Well, Bill, On the Oregon Trail is not only pleasant listening, but it must recall for a great many families legends and stories of an important part of our early American scene.
Yes, for tales have been passed from generation to generation about how the ox teams plodded through that country of scenic wonder. As you know, you can follow that trail today. If you do, you'll touch places that bear wonderful names. Listen to some of them. Independence Rock, Devil's Gate, Sweetwater River, Wind River Mountains, the Valley of the Bear. Names significant to our American scene. And I can't help thinking, too, that in so many homes today, there's another name that's become a part of our American way of life. Maxwell House, a coffee of true distinction. For in this nation of coffee lovers, Maxwell House is bought and enjoyed by more people than any other brand. You see, Maxwell House experts skillfully blend these choice Latin American coffees. Manizales for mellowness. Medellins for richness. Other choice Latin American coffees for vigor. And Bucaramangas for full body. The result is coffee so full-flavored and richly delicious that north, east, south, and west, the name Maxwell House is synonymous with the phrase, good to the last drop.
Oh, Meredith, George and I will never win the happy marriage contest. Look at the time, 12:30. That woman will be here at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I know it.
And George still isn't happy. When she sees him, the Galens are bound to get the award.
I sure wish we could think of some way to cheer him up.
Well, think, Meredith, think.
Thinking.
What was George doing the last time you saw him really happy and enjoying himself?
Well, let me see. I guess he was watching that burlesque show he took me to.
No, I'm afraid I couldn't do that. The house is too cold. What else does George like to do?
Well, he loves to discuss politics. He's always...
Politics, of course. A good, intelligent political discussion will make him happy. Excuse me, Meredith. George?
Yes, dear?
How do you feel about Coolidge?
Coolidge.
Do you think he'll be elected president this year?
Don't think he's got a chance.
How about William Jennings Bryan?
Well, he's got as good a chance as Coolidge.
Just hope a Republican doesn't get in again. Time the Democrats had a chance.
Yes, they've really been pushed around.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about South America?
How do you feel about it?
I say leave it where it is.
Yeah, let's not move it. It's heavy.
Now, take inflation. How about that?
Inflation?
Yeah.
You tell me.
Well, I don't think we should keep it a secret just because we invented it first. We should share it with all the United Nations.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. And now let's take Congress. The meeting, you know.
I know. Yes, I got a meeting. Yes.
Some people want a long Congress, and some people want a short Congress.
And you?
Well, a lot of people are against the short Congress, but I say if Mr. LaGuardia wants to run, his size shouldn't keep him out.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. And then take the poll tax. I'm against it.
You are?
Oh, yes.
That's interesting.
We're all Americans. Why should people pay a special tax because they came from Poland?
Good argument.
Yes. Now, what shall I take next?
A powder right out that door.
This talk about politics hasn't made you happy?
No.
Why not?
I'm worried about Coolidge's chances.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, run along and let me brood about it.
Oh, yes, dear.
Oh, poor Cal. Well, did it make him happy, Gracie?
No, and I can't understand it. He hangs on Gabriel Heater's every word, and I'm much more attractive. Oh, excuse me, Meredith.
Good day, Mrs. Burns.
Oh, hello, Mr. Postman.
I detect a note of sadness in your voice, and you're usually gay and carefree like me.
Well, I have a problem. My husband is unhappy, and we're ended in the happy marriage contest.
Oh, is there a happy marriage contest?
Yeah, didn't you and your wife enter? Oh, I forgot. I guess your marriage would never win a prize.
Not unless I entered my wife in the Golden Gloves.
Does she still strike you?
Mrs. Burns, 20 years ago, I asked for her hand, and she's been giving it to me ever since.
Well, into each life, some rain must fall.
Yes, but my wife shouldn't happen even in California. I guess you and I are both married to cloudburst.
Oh, no. George isn't that bad. He's just an occasional drip.
Well, compared to me, your husband should be as happy as a lark.
Say, that's an idea. Maybe if you tell George how miserable you are, he'll see how much reason he has to be happy.
Bring him on. I'll fill his little heart with joy. And then my wife hit me with the electric iron, tied my hands and feet, and flung me down the basement where I lay for 4 days. Well, goodbye, Mr. Burns. Remember, keep smiling.
Well, George, how do you feel now? Are you happy?
Happy? How can I be happy when that poor little man is so miserable?
But, dear...
He made me feel terrible. I'm going in the den.
Now I've got to start all over again and make him happy.
Yeah, and that woman will be here in 15 minutes.
Yeah, let's see now. I know how Clara Bagley made her husband happy recently, but I wouldn't have time for that.
What did she do?
She had a baby.
No, I guess that's impractical. It would be a lot easier to make George happy if he wasn't the worrying type.
Meredith, I believe you've got it. He'll be much happier if I do all the worrying for both of us.
He sure ought to be.
Well, I'll stop his worries right now. George?
What?
From now on, I don't want you to do any worrying.
Well, fine.
I'll do it for both of us.
Good.
So don't worry about the postman. Don't worry about your electric razor. Don't worry about...
Wait a minute. What happened to my electric razor?
Oh, it got kind of clogged up when I peeled the carrots with it.
You peeled carrots with my electric razor?
Don't
the
worry
new one
about...
that I just got?
Don't worry. From now on, I'm worrying about everything. The fender on the car, too.
Fender on the car?
Yeah, but I sort of ran into the rear end of Mr. Connor's milk truck.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but don't you worry about it. I'm handling all the worrying. Now, you happy?
No, I'm not happy.
Still brooding about Coolidge,
Yeah,
huh?
about Coolidge. Now, get out of here.
Well, Meredith, Oh, hello, Bill.
Hi, Gracie. I came back to see if you'd won the happy marriage contest.
Well, not yet, and we haven't a chance unless George cheers up.
Oh, the little man is still unhappy, huh?
Oh, Bill, you ought to see him. He doesn't look like himself.
And you're complaining?
What can I do? That woman will be here to observe us in 5 minutes.
Well, you just leave him to me, Gracie. I've got a letter here that ought to do the trick.
Oh, good, Bill. He's right in there in the den.
Hello, George, old man.
Hello, Bill.
Oh, come on, George. Cheer up. Wait till you hear this letter from the sponsor. Wait till you hear the nice thing he said about you.
About me?
Mm-hmm.
From the sponsor?
Yeah.
Well, read it, Bill. What does he say?
Well, I'll read some excerpts, huh?
Good.
Now, get this. The Maxwell House Coffee people are proud and happy to have as their star a man whose charm and talent are on a par with the quality of their product.
Wow.
Now, that really means something, because Maxwell House Coffee is tops.
I know. Read some more.
It's appetizing, rich, full-bodied, and mellow.
Read the letter. Read some more.
Maxwell House's coffee at its full-flavored best. Good to the last drop.
Read some
That's why more people buy and enjoy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world.
The letter, Bill. What else does the sponsor say?
Well, now get this closing.
Yes.
And it is our fervent hope that this talented and brilliant man will still be with us 5, 10, or even 20 years from now.
Boy.
Because it has indeed been a pleasure to sponsor radio's brightest personality, Bill Goodwin.
Bill Goodwin.
Yes.
Let me see where it says that.
Right here.
I thought you said the sponsor said something nice about me.
Well, I was coming to that, Joe. P.S. Tell Gracie's husband we liked his Christmas card.
That's nice.
Wasn't that a nice thing for him to say? Aren't you thrilled?
I'm a mass of quivering goose flesh.
Well, then don't act so miserable. Smile. Be happy.
What have I got to be happy about?
What have you got? Well, look at you. You've got a... Boy, you got a right to be miserable.
Bill, did you fix it? Is he any happier?
Well, I'm afraid not, Gracie. We were going along fine till the subject of George Burns came up. Now we're both depressed. I'm sorry.
Wow, he was a big help. We've got 2 minutes to go. What can we do, Meredith?
You know, Gracie, I might be able to make George happy.
Yeah, how?
Well, I'm a musician, and music half charms.
It half?
Yeah. I'd say sure. Suppose I take my flute in there and play him a solo.
Oh, wonderful.
Shall I play him something by Chopin or something by Humperdinck?
Oh, Humperdinck, by all means. The man who was willing to live with that name must have been happy.
Chopin sounds awfully pretty on a flute.
Oh, play Humperdinck.
Okay, Gracie. Humperdinck it is. You wait right here.
Well, what do you want?
Ouch!
Meredith, what happened?
I knew I should have played Chopin.
It's too late now. Here comes the woman up the walk. Well, maybe I can bluff this thing through if she doesn't see George. Come in.
Hello, Mrs. Burns.
Hello.
Is this your husband?
Oh, no. My husband, my happy husband, is in bed.
In bed?
Yes, he's so happy he laughed himself sick. All we do around here is just laugh. Well, let's have the award, huh?
Can't I have any peace in this house? Stop all this cackling. Now, quiet.
So this is Laughing Boy.
Who's this old bat?
Doesn't he say the funniest things? That's my happy husband.
Yes, he's a scream. Well, on behalf of my my newspaper. Here's the award for being the happiest couple in Hollywood.
You're giving it to us?
I've got to.
But I thought you'd give it to the Galens.
I'm not going to chase him to Reno just for that. Goodbye.
Join us again next week when we'll all be back. George Burns, Gracie Allen, Meredith Wilson and his orchestra, and yours truly, Bill Goodwin.
Until next Thursday, then, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's #1 brand of coffee. Always good to the last drop.
Gracie, I'm sorry I lost my temper. I guess we really are the happiest couple in Hollywood.
Oh, sure we are. And that's because you're the boss and I do whatever you say.
Oh, I'm not the boss.
Oh, yes, you are, dear.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, really, I'm...
George, I'm running this house, and when I say you're the boss, you're the boss.
I lost my head. Just call me bossy.
Oh, that's good. Good night.
Stay tuned to this station because Dinah Shore's open house is coming on in just a second. Dinah's special guest tonight is Jack Kyser.
Oh, goody, goody, Jello pudding tonight. It tastes like Grandma's, only more so.
You ain't kidding, that's right.
And just the Jello 6 delicious, locked in flavors can't be beaten. So the proof of Jello pudding's in the eating.
The Jello twins are hard to find, but keep on looking in your store. When sugar shortages are over, there'll be more.
Just a taste of Jello pudding or of Jello, and you know it's the one and only Jello.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
It's Maxwell House Coffee Time, starring George Burns and Gracie Allen. With yours truly, Bill Goodwin, and the music of Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. For deep down laughs and listening enjoyment, it's George and Gracie. And for deep down coffee drinking enjoyment, it's Maxwell House. With extra flavor in the blend because of choice Latin American coffees skillfully combined. Extra flavor in the cup because Radiant Roast develops the full flavor of every coffee bean. And the result is that today more people buy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world. Well, it's afternoon as we look in at the Burns home, and we find Mr. and Mrs. Burns trying to decide how to spend the evening.
Would you like to go out this evening, George?
I don't mind, if you would.
Oh, I just as soon, if you would.
All right with me, if you'd like to.
Sure. Unless you'd rather stay home. Would you?
I don't mind. You would.
I just as soon. Unless you'd rather go out.
I don't mind going out. If you'd like to.
Oh, I'd like to go out. If you really want to.
Okay, I'll go shave. Unless you'd rather stay home.
Oh, no. Unless you would.
Oh, not me. No. You want to go out.
All right. Would you like to see a movie?
I don't mind. You would.
I would.
Okay, I'll go shave.
Well.
Good.
Unless you'd rather stay home.
Oh, no. Unless you would.
Oh, no. I'll go get dressed. If you're sure you'd like to go out.
I don't mind. You would.
George.
Yes?
The heck with it.
Yeah, the heck with it. Let's just stay home.
Sure.
Okay.
Swell.
Good.
Unless you'd rather go out.
I don't mind. If you would.
No, just as soon. If you would.
Well, it's all right with me. I'll go shave.
And I'll go get dressed.
Good.
Fine. Unless you'd rather
Oh,
stay
listen,
home.
we've had... Would you like to go out or would you like to stay home? Make a definite statement.
All right.
All right, what? What is it?
Either way suits me.
Okay, I'll make the decision. We'll stay home.
No, we won't. We'll go out.
Gracie.
There's the telephone. Are you expecting a call?
No. Are you?
No. Would you like to answer it?
I don't mind. Unless you would.
I'd just as soon. Unless you would.
Okay, I'll answer it. Unless you want to.
No, I don't mind. Unless you'd rather.
Oh, Gracie, stop being silly. Answer the phone.
Don't order me around. You answer it.
When do you tell me what to do? You answer it.
I won't touch it.
Neither will I.
Meanwhile, on the other end of that ringing telephone, we find the Burns' friends, Blanche and Harry Morton.
Oh, nuts. They still don't answer.
Who are you trying to call, Harry?
George Burns. I got a job for him. I want him to go up to Seattle and help pick my apples.
Oh. Harry, are you still trying to get apple pickers?
Well, you're darn right I am. I've got one of the finest orchards in the state of Washington, and I'm not going to let those apples rot.
But, Harry, you can't make an apple picker out of an actor.
I know. That's why I'm taking George Burns. And he won't have to be up in Washington more than a couple of weeks.
But the Burnses have a radio show every Thursday night.
Why does the show need George?
Well, why, George is the one who does all the... Well, he tells the... Well, don't stand there. Call him back.
They won't be home yet. I got a better idea. Here comes the postman. I'll just write a note and have him deliver it to the Burns house.
Okay, Harry.
You want to see who's at the door, Gracie?
Sure. Unless you want.
Oh, let's not start that again.
All right, I'll go.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Burns.
Oh, hello, Mr. Postman. How are you today?
Oh, Mrs. Burns, I feel gloriously alive today. I'm invigorated, stimulated, activated. I'm jumping with joy.
My goodness, you must tell my husband what kind of vitamins you use.
Oh, it isn't vitamins that makes me so happy. I gave my wife a black eye.
Well, at last the worm turned.
No, she was facing me.
Tell me, what happened?
Well, finally I could stand no more. The fighting blood rushed to my head.
Good.
One clot from birth and it rushed out again. But now I was really mad. Every ounce of my virile manhood cried for revenge. The beast in me said, fight, fight, fight.
Oh, and that's when you gave her the black eye?
Yes.
Oh, well, tell me just how it happened.
Well, she tried to kick me and her shoe flew off and hit her in the eye.
Oh, Mr. Postman, I thought you hit her.
Me? You think I want to get killed? Well, here's your mail, Mrs. Burns. Goodbye. And remember, keep smiling.
What came in the mail, Gracie?
Oh, the usual stuff. Bills and a letter from... Oh, wait a minute. Well, here's a funny one. A letter addressed to you, but there's no stamp on it.
Wonder what that could be.
Well, it must be an official government letter. They're the only ones that don't need stamps.
Well, let's read it. Dear George, I need your help to handle a big job in Washington. Hope I can count on you, Harry. Washington? Harry?
Darling, how wonderful. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
What do you mean?
Well, don't you see Harry Truman needs your help in Washington?
The president wants me to help him?
Well, why not? You're one of the great minds of this country.
Oh, go on. Am I really?
You're one of the greatest, George. It's always been a miracle to me how such high thoughts could come out of such a low forehead.
Well, true, I've got a lot of brains.
Oh, you bet you have. If you weren't a brilliant man, the Maxwell House people wouldn't have you on the air advertising their coffee.
Say, come to think of it, the president has been calling on advertising men to help him. Chester Bowles came from an advertising agency. So did William Benton.
Well, certainly. And look who he took from Batten, Barton, Durston, and Osborne.
Who?
Well, out of that crowd, he must have gotten somebody.
But I still can't imagine the president calling on me to help. There are a lot of men in radio smarter than I am.
You name a couple.
Well, there aren't that many.
And look at the uncanny grasp you have of international affairs. Well, I'll never forget what you said last summer just after my mother had gone back home.
What did I say?
Well, you said, now we'll have peace. And the very next day, Japan surrendered.
Yeah, I had a hunch. But, gee, it's still hard to believe that President Truman wants me to help him run the country.
Well, come in.
Hello, Burnses.
Hiya, Bill.
Oh, Bill, you're the first to hear the news.
What news, Gracie?
Well, guess who wants George to help the Democrats run the country?
The Republicans?
Laugh a minute, this boy. Willie the Wit, they call him.
Well, Bill, this is no joke. The president has sent for George to come to Washington.
What?
It's true. He probably listened to George on the radio and figured the government should have him in Washington.
Well, don't let him take you without extradition papers, George.
Now, Bill.
We'll fight this every inch of the way.
Hey, Bill.
Since when is it a federal offense to smell up the air?
Bill, it so happens the president wants me to help him run this country.
Oh, come, George. Things can't be that bad.
So you don't believe I'm going to Washington to help the president, huh?
Ah, sure, I believe it, George. The minute I heard you sing last week, I said to myself, there's the man who should be Secretary of the Interior.
Huh?
Well, I said to myself, if one of the Ickies has to leave, let's put another one in his place.
Goodbye, comic.
So long, brain truster.
You see, Bill didn't believe it. Maybe there's some mistake about this thing, Gracie.
Oh, mistake nothing. Why, the president couldn't possibly find anyone better qualified. I'll get it. Hello?
Hello, this is Harry. I've been trying to reach you all day.
You have?
Yeah, did George get my note?
Oh, yes. Yes, he did, Your Highness.
What?
He got the note, Your Excellency.
Look, what's the idea of calling me all that stuff?
Well, what should I call you?
Well, just call me Harry. I'm democratic.
Naturally, or you wouldn't be where you are.
Now, look, you don't have to soft soap me just because I'm offering George a job. It happens to be the sort of thing a guy with his brains can handle. Will he take it?
Well, of course he will. And you'll find that he's the hardest worker in the whole United States.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm from Missouri.
So I've heard, Your Lordship.
Oh, stop it. Stop it, please. Tell George I'll get in touch with him later and let him know when to leave for Washington. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Your Reverence.
Gosh, Gracie, was that the
president himself.
Holy
And you know he's just as friendly and pleasant as one of our own neighbors.
And he really wants me in Washington?
He insists on it. Oh, George, isn't it thrilling? You'll be in the nation's capital, budgeting the fiscals, appropriating the tariffs, filling the busters. Oh.
It's like a dream.
Isn't it?
Me, one of Truman's advisors.
Uh-huh.
Hiya, folks.
Oh, Meredith, have we got news for you? President Truman has sent for George to come to Washington and help him with his problems.
Golly, George. Congratulations.
Thanks, Meredith.
But, gee, I sure am going to miss you.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can go to Washington with us, Meredith. Maybe George can find something for you to do. George, isn't there some little government job you could give Meredith? Something like Secretary of State?
Oh, sure. I'll make him Secretary of State.
Oh, good. Meredith, what state would you like to be Secretary of?
Well, I think I'll take Iowa. That's my home state, George.
I know.
You know, born, raised right there in Mason City, Iowa.
Yes.
That's where the corn grows, 6 feet tall.
So I see. Now, look, you two, there'll be no appointments. My only job is to help the president.
Well, Mr. Truman's got a big problem, all right.
Well, every president has a problem.
Yeah, but his is tremendous. He's fingering his bass wrong when he plays the piano.
Meredith, don't you think it's possible that the president might have a couple of other problems?
No, I don't think so. His pedal work and right hand are fine.
Yes. He plays the piano much better than Hoover did.
Yeah. Say, you know who'd make a good president? Carmen Cavallero. He has a flawless left hand.
Look, Meredith, you better run along now. I have a lot to do before I leave for Washington.
Yeah, that's true. He has, Meredith. George will have to buy a lot of new things. The person can't appear at the White House in his old clothes.
That's right. I'll buy some new suits, new hats, new shoes, a new coat. What else?
Oh, that's plenty for me. Get a couple of neckties for yourself, too.
It's Meredith Wilson and his orchestra, and Carry Me Back to Old Virginia. I suppose you had a special reason for choosing Carry Me Back to Old Virginia this 21st of February?
Why, sure, Bill. We always associate the beautiful and historic state of Virginia with our first president.
Yes, that's right. Say, Meredith, do you know that even in those early days, coffee was beginning to play a real part in the hospitality of our American scene? In fact, the colonists had been drinking coffee for 100 years before George Washington was president. Yes, from America's earliest days, coffee has been a national custom and a favorite cup of good cheer. And in the American scene today, the choice is most often Maxwell House. For Maxwell House is bought and enjoyed by more people than any other brand of coffee in America. Enjoyed for its delicious, satisfying flavor. And that famous flavor is no accident. For master craftsmen skillfully blend into Maxwell House these premium coffees. Manizales for mellowness. Medellins for richness. Other choice Latin American coffees for vigor. And Bucaramangas for full body. The result is coffee so richly mellow, so vigorously full-bodied, that this nation of coffee lovers agrees it's good to the last drop.
We're practically on our way to Washington. One trunk is packed. Now let's start on the other one.
Okay. Way down in Missouri where I heard this melody.
Oh, that's beautiful, darling. Harry will love it.
Yeah, that's his favorite song.
Yeah, I hope he can play Ain't Misbehaving. That's your best number.
Well, I can teach it to him. I wonder if we'll have trouble finding a place to stay in Washington.
But the president will insist on us staying at the White House, naturally.
He will?
Well, suppose he needs you in the middle of the night to solve some knotty problem. He just knocks on your door and he says, George, how do you feel about merging the OPA and the NLRB so that the CIO and the AFL can deal directly with the AMGOT and the UNRRA?
What do I say?
Either okay or PU.
Hand me my underwear. I'll pack that.
Here you are. Oh, George, I hope they give us the blue room. You look so patriotic every morning.
Patriotic?
Running through the blue room of the White House in your red underwear.
Yeah, 3 cheers for the red, white, and blue.
Oh, you go right on packing, dear. I'll see who's at the front door.
Mrs. Burns?
Yes?
It's all over town that your husband is going to see the president. I'm from the Associated Press.
Oh, you're a newspaper reporter.
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Burns his views on questions of the day.
Oh, well, he's very busy now, but I can tell you anything you want to know.
All right. I'll make some notes on this. Now, first, how does your husband feel about labor?
Labor? Well, on the whole, he'd rather not.
You don't understand. I mean, does he approve of strikes?
Well, some strikes he does and some strikes he doesn't. You can quote him as saying that of all the strikes he's heard about, the sit-down strike is the most comfortable.
I can quote him on that?
Yes.
Good. Now, how does he feel about Senator Pepper's bill? How does he feel about Senator Pepper's bill?
Senator or no senator, if he owes a bill, he ought to pay it.
I can quote that, too.
Oh, definitely. My husband has no prejudice. He's going to Washington with an open mind.
I'll say it's open. I can feel the draft. Now, how about your husband's foreign policy?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
What does he think about Russia?
He thinks Russia is very large.
And England?
Much smaller.
What a scoop that'll make. How does he feel about the Far East?
The Far East?
Yes.
Well, now, he thinks New York is a nice place to visit, but no place to live.
I meant a little farther east. How about a statement from your husband on the Chinese question?
Oh, well, now, you have to wait for that until he learns the language. He feels that a Chinese question deserves a Chinese answer.
He's so right, too. Tell me, what are his views on the Indonesian situation?
Oh, now that's the question I've been waiting for. What was it again?
The Indonesian situation, Java. Isn't he worried about Java?
Oh, goodness, no. We get all we want from the Maxwell House people.
Mrs. Burns, I was talking about an island in the Dutch East Indies.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so? Now I see what you're driving at.
Good. Now, what's your husband's attitude towards Sumatra?
He likes them, but he prefers Frosty.
That did it. The interview is over. This will be in all the morning papers.
Wonderful. Any other questions about my husband?
Yes, just 3. When did he get out? Who let him out? When does he go back in?
When did he get out? Wouldn't he be surprised if he knew that George never went to college at all?
Who's at the door?
Just a newspaper man. Now, let's get to bed, George. We may have to leave for Washington very early in the morning.
Okay. Where's my nightshirt?
Oh, I'm afraid, dear, you'll have to wear one of my gowns. I sent all your nightshirts out to be dyed black.
Dyed black?
Well, yes, to wear in case you're made a member of the Supreme Court.
Let's go to bed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hey. Come in.
Oh, good morning, Bill.
Well, good morning, Gracie. Say, George, let me be the first to apologize. When you said you were going to Washington, I thought you were talking through your hat, but it's in all the morning papers.
Really?
Yeah, get a load of this headline. George Burns to Washington to help run country.
Wow.
Millions of Americans flee to Mexico. Well, George, I was just kidding about that one, but gosh, this is big stuff. It says you may stay in the White House.
It does?
Yeah. It says brilliant wit of radio may stay in White House while her husband advises Truman.
I say.
Gee, you two will really be in a social swim there in Washington. Parties at all the foreign legations.
Oh, yes. I can just see us now at the Russian embassy, eating caviar and sipping Molotov cocktails.
Gracie, a Molotov cocktail is an explosive.
Really? Oh, well, don't you drink more than one.
I'll watch myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, of course, there'll be big dinner parties at the British embassy. My goodness, I don't know how to act around royalty.
Well, Gracie, I just happened to read a very interesting book about English royalty.
Oh?
It's called Forever Amber.
Did you get any information from it?
Well, nothing you could use at a dinner party.
Don't forget, we'll have to do some entertaining ourselves, Gracie.
Oh, yeah, that's right. How you talk to diplomats and senators and people like that?
Oh, it's easy, Gracie. For example, a senator must always be called Right Honorable.
Even if he isn't?
Oh, sure. Now, let's say an important senator drops in, the head of one of those congressional blocks. Well, what do you say?
Well, I'd say, sit down, Right Honorable Blockhead.
No, Gracie. I see you're going to need some advice.
Oh, Bill, we don't need all that fancy talk.
Yes, you do, George. Suppose a man like Lord Beaverbrook comes to this country for a conference and he drops in. What would you say to him?
I'd be democratic. I'd say, sit down, Beav, and have a cup of coffee.
Sit down, Beav, and have a cup of... George, he's one of the most important men in the world. You want him to think you're a dope?
Well, what should I say?
Well, say, sit down, Beav, and have a cup of Maxwell House coffee. For goodness sake, show him that you're offering him the best. Let him know that he's getting Maxwell House, the coffee that's appetizing, rich, full-bodied, and mellow. Coffee at its full-flavored best, good to the last drop.
Bill.
Say to him, Beav, old chap, more people buy and enjoy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world.
Okay, Bill, he's sitting down. He's drinking his coffee. Now what do I say?
Oh, well, then you say, Your Lordship, I trust your stay in this country has been frightfully jolly. And then Lord Beaverbrook will say to you, Mr. Burns, you ain't just beating your chops. So long.
You ain't just beating your chops.
Well, where do you suppose Lord Beaverbrook picked that up?
At the Palladium. Goes there every Saturday night with Churchill. Well, now call a taxi. Our train for Washington leaves in a half hour. Oh, nuts. Come in.
George, you old son of a gun. I just read the morning paper. So you're going away and leave your old friend Harry Morton in the lurch, huh?
What do you mean, Harry?
Well, I thought you were coming up to Washington to help me pick my apples.
Me? Pick apples? Ah. You're talking to Truman's right-hand man.
But Gracie said on the phone you'd do it. She said you got my note signed Harry. She seemed very pleased.
You sent a note signed Harry?
Telling you I had a job for you in Washington.
Gracie.
I don't feel well. I think I'll go lie down.
Come back here.
Now, George, keep calm. Remember your sore foot.
I haven't got a sore foot.
Well, you will have if you do what you're thinking of doing.
All the hair-brained ridiculous. Harry, let me see that morning paper.
Sure. Here, George.
Oh, no. Who gave out this interview?
I did. You were busy packing.
How do I feel about Sumatra? I like Crosby better. The sit-down strike is the most comfortable. Gracie, you made me the laughing stock of this country.
Well, I'm sorry, dear.
I'll never be able to hold up my head again.
I didn't
Hello?
mean to do it.
Yes,
How
this is
can
the
I
Burns
face
resident.
my friend?
I know.
Who?
How can I look
Oh, just a moment.
I didn't
George.
This is absolutely...
George.
This is...
George.
What do you want?
The White House is on the telephone.
Oh, no.
The president must have seen the paper.
I'm too young to be deported.
George, answer it.
No, sir. You got me into this. You talk to him.
Me?
Answer it.
Oh, yes, dear. Hello. Hello, Your Majesty. I mean, Your Democratship. Oh, you read it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll tell him. Goodbye, Your Presidency.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me what he said.
Well, I think I better. He wants you to come to Washington.
He does?
Yes, he said compared to some of the things he's heard, your ideas make a lot of sense.
Join us again next week when we'll all be back. George Burns, Gracie Allen, Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. Yours truly, Bill Goodwin.
Until next Thursday, then, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's #1 brand of coffee, always good to the last drop.
Good night. Stay tuned to this station because Bird's Eye Open House, starring Dinah Shore, is coming on in just a second. Dinah's special guest tonight is Groucho Marx.
Oh, goody, goody Jell-O pudding tonight. It tastes like Grandma's, only more so.
You ain't kidding, that's right.
And just as Jell-O 6 delicious, locked in flavors can't be beaten. So the proof of Jell-O pudding's in the eating.
The Jell-O twins are hard to find, but keep on looking in your store. When sugar shortages are over, there'll be more.
Just a taste of Jell-O pudding or a Jell-O and you know it's the one and only Jell-O.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
This is George Burns and Gracie Allen. Last week, in an effort to make the Burns' future more secure, Gracie bought a chicken ranch. It worked out about as you'd expect, and George considered himself lucky when he sold the ranch at a loss of $1,000. He's telling Gracie about it now.
Well, that's what your week in the chicken business cost me. $1,000.
Oh, George, you're just like every other husband, unreasonable. The minute you watch there's something horrible, you complain.
Yes, I'm a beast.
And besides, it wasn't my fault we lost money on the chickens. The customers were too fussy. Every time they bought a chicken, they wanted it clean.
Well?
Well, you try cleaning a chicken sometime. I use soil off, energy,
Gracie. When you clean a chicken, you remove its feathers.
Oh, well, now that's ridiculous. How'd I ever get them back on again?
With Scotch tape and forget the whole thing.
Now, don't worry. I'll go into some other business and get your $1,000 back and more besides.
Oh, no, you won't. You're not going to make the name of Burns a laughing stock.
All right, I'll just use my first name. That's what all big business people do anyway. Look at Frank. No one knows his last name, but he's the biggest man in the furniture business.
Oh, Frank Furtick.
Sure.
Oh, yes, Frank Furtick. I don't want you to go into any more business.
You don't, huh?
I don't, no. And that's an order.
Yes, sir.
And I want it obeyed.
Yes, sir.
I'm your husband, and what I say goes.
Yes, sir.
Now, was that perfectly clear? Are there any doubts in your mind?
Well, just one there.
What is it?
What business shall I go into?
Oh, no.
Well, good morning, folks.
Oh, hello, Meredith.
I dropped over to get a little advice, Gracie. You're the one I always turn to because I admire your intelligence.
Oh, now you see, George, Meredith thinks I've got lots of brains.
Well, I can understand that. Guy Kibbe probably thinks Edgar Bergen has lots of hair.
I don't get it.
Well, work on it. I'm going down to the corner cigar store. If anyone calls, I'll be right back.
He says the strangest things. Oh, what's the advice you want, Meredith?
Well, as you know, Gracie, I'm a bachelor whose life has been devoted to music. I live alone, just me and my flute.
Yeah, I know.
But in the spring, I sometimes feel that I would welcome the presence of a woman.
Meredith.
A reckless attitude, I realize. But there's something about the spring that makes my flute seem not quite enough.
I never thought I'd hear you say such a thing.
I've resisted these impulses because once back in Mason City, my actions toward a young lady caused quite a bit of talk. In fact, I left town under sort of a cloud.
My goodness, what did you do?
Well, at a taffy pull, I pulled her taffy longer than any other girl.
Meredith Wilson.
And now that spring is here again, I'd like to meet a nice girl. You think it'd be all right for me to advertise in the paper for one?
Oh, you're only fooling.
No, I'm not.
You don't advertise for things like that.
Well, other people do. I noticed several such ads in the personal column of this paper.
Really? Let me see. My goodness, you're right. Listen to this one. Refined lady would like to correspond with educated gentlemen. If you don't know how to write, phone Dreamland Dance Hall. And ask for toots. Meredith, are ads like these always in the papers?
Yep, hundreds of them every day.
Oh, this gives me a terrific idea for a business to go into.
It does?
Sure. I'll find mates for all these lonely people. I'll open a matrimonial bureau.
A matrimonial bureau?
Yes.
Gee, double willikers. I beg your pardon. Forgot I was talking to a lady.
Now, I'll need about $25 to put an ad in the paper. Have you got $25, Meredith?
I work for your husband, Gracie.
That's right.
You'll have to get the money from George.
Oh, no. He told me never to go into business again. However, if I flatter him enough, he must give me the money and no questions asked.
Really?
Well, sure. Sure. That's it. I'll flatter the little rascal. And then... Oh, here he comes. Quick, out the back way. I've got work to do.
Okay, Gracie, and lots of luck.
Oh, George, the census taker was here while you were gone, and, you know, for the life of me, I couldn't remember your age.
My age?
Yeah, tell me again. Is it 30 or 31?
30 or 31? Stop being ridiculous. I'm down here 36.
You know, dear, that's hard to believe. How could a man get as handsome as you are in only 36 years?
Well, I never was.
George, sometimes I ask myself, I say, Gracie, do you love George just because he's as handsome as he is? And then I say, no, I'd love him just as much if he only looked like Robert Taylor.
Would you really?
Yes. It's the 1,001 thrills I got just being near you that make my life such a dream of ecstasy.
Oh, Gracie.
Oh, really? The strange and tender things that remind me of you. The sight of your tousled hair in the morning, your delicate hand waving goodbye, your strong white feet at eventide.
Oh, all right.
The kindness that shines from your eyes. The warm, generous smile that lights your face when I ask you for $25.
Gracie.
The blow of your hand as it leaps to your billfold. The sudden whoosh of air rushing in as you open it. The soft crinkle of 2 10s and a 5 as you press them into my palm.
Those are the things you like about me.
Yes.
The blur of my hand as I whip out my billfold. Like this.
Yes, that's it.
The whoosh of air as I open it. Like this.
I love that.
The crinkle of 2 10s and a 5. Like these.
Oh, yes, dear. These are the little things that remind me of you.
I'm going to give you another tender little memory to tuck away in your heart.
Oh, what, dear?
The sound of my merry laughter as I shove it all back in my pocket.
George.
The whoosh of the thing as I open it. Look, I wasn't born yesterday. What do you want with $25? Gracie, I said, why do you need $25?
The way your handsome face lights up.
Forget it. Gracie, I'm ashamed of you. Downright ashamed. You say you love me, and yet you deliberately flatter me and lie to me to get money.
Oh, well, I am ashamed of myself, George. It was a low, sneaky thing to do.
You shouldn't lower yourself for such a measly amount of money. $25.
You're right, dear.
Of course.
Go out and come in again, and we'll try for 50.
No bother. You'll get no money from me. I'm going out back and wash the car. I'll see you later.
George is right. I've got to stop telling him how wonderful he is. Too darn unbelievable. Now, some really handsome man who was conceited about his looks might lend me the $25. I think that come in.
Hi, Gracie.
Well, Bill, what a coincidence. I was just thinking of you.
Really? How come?
Well, the census taker was asking about you, and you know, for the life of me, I couldn't remember your age.
My age?
Yeah, tell me again. Is it 30 or 31?
26.
Oh.
Though most people take me for 25.
Oh, that's what I was hoping to take you for.
What, Gracie?
Sit down, Bill, and let me tell you how handsome you are.
Well, gee, I've only got a couple of hours, Gracie.
You know, Bill, you're easily the most handsome man in Hollywood.
Well, gee, that's quite a compliment coming from the prettiest girl in Hollywood.
And not only are you...
You have that rare combination of beauty and personality.
Oh, Bill.
As the French say, Gracie, you have je ne sais quoi.
Oh, they shouldn't say that. I may have a little je ne sais, but very little quoi.
You know, George is a lucky guy. You're so charming.
Oh, thank you.
So lovely.
Oh, thank you.
So young.
Yeah. Oh, wait here, Bill. I'll go see if I can find you $25. Oh, for a minute I forgot who was doing what to who.
What do you mean?
Well, I might as well tell you now. I need $25, and I wanted to flatter you so you'd lend it to me.
Well, I'll be glad to lend it to you, Gracie. Here you are.
Thank you, Bill. I tried to get it from George, but no luck.
Really? See, I think it's a shame the way you have to beg him for things. Believe me, Gracie, when I get married, my wife is going to have everything. She'll have a limousine, a mink coat, hundreds of dresses, and all the money she can possibly spend.
Oh, gee. When do you plan to get married?
Well, just as soon as I find a girl who's got all that.
George and Gracie will return in just a moment.
Oh, excuse me a moment, Meredith.
Sure, Gracie.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Burns.
Oh, thank you,
Here's your
Mr.
mail.
Postman. Did you see my ad in the paper? I'm opening a matrimonial bureau.
A matrimonial bureau?
Mm-hmm.
You mean you're going to get people married?
That's right.
Poor innocent people who never did anything to hurt you.
Oh, now, Mr. Postman, you mustn't be so bitter about marriage just because yours turned out so, well, shall we be charitable and say poorly?
Let's be accurate and say stinking.
Mr. Postman, if you feel that way, why in the world did you ever marry Bertha?
Well, in a moment of weakness, I kissed her. And once I had kissed her, a force stronger than myself took hold of me and swept me to the altar.
Infatuation, huh?
No, her father and two brothers. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Burns. Remember, keep smiling.
Hey, Gracie, I heard you tell the postman you had an ad in the paper. I didn't see any ad for the Gracie Allen Matrimonial Bureau.
Oh, I'm not using my own name. Now, who's been making all the money the last few years? The used car dealers. So, I'm advertising just like they do.
Like a used car dealer?
Sure. Here's my ad. Listen to this. Hurry, hurry, hurry. If it's a husband you want, you'll always get a square deal from the smiling Irish woman. Come in and pick out the husband you want. For a small down payment, I'll hold them until you can.
Golly, Gracie, you'll make a fortune.
Oh, you bet I will. Now, listen, here's my listing of today's specials. Like news, sports model Marine Sergeant. Just returned from overseas. Come in and try a sample hug. His clutch hasn't been used in 4 years.
Well, that's a dandy.
And here's another special. Conservative middle-aged town model. Not too much speed, but dependable and well upholstered. Formerly owned by elderly lady in Pasadena, who never kept him out later than 9 o'clock.
Gee, you sure got all kinds.
Oh, yes. Fortunately, all women don't like the same kind of husband. One woman's Ford is another woman's Cadillac.
Well, what if George finds out about all this?
Oh, I won't tell him until I've made my first million. You know, later this afternoon.
Gracie, do you think you might be able to find a buyer for me?
Oh, why not? You're not even second-hand. You're brand new. Oh, that must be a customer.
I'll go change my clothes. I'll put on my new slacks, and then you can say I'm equipped with the new seat covers.
How do? Are you the smiling Irish woman? Oh, faith, and sure I am, bejeebus. Does that prove it? Yeah. I'm interested in looking over your stock. Oh, well, I'm sure we can get together on a deal. Have you already got a husband? No. Oh, too bad. You lose my liberal trade-in allowance. Believe me, if I had anything to trade in, I'd still be running it. Well, there's bound to be some item in my stock that'll appeal to you. But first, I'll need some information for your file. Name, please. Carol Davis. Mm-hmm. You live in Hollywood? That's right. And you've never been married even once? No. Tourist, huh? I've been here more than a year now. My goodness, you do need help. What's your age, Miss Davis?
I'm going on 22.
I beg your pardon?
I said I'm going on 22.
Yes, I know. But where are you coming from?
Well, if you must know, I'm 34.
Mm-hmm. Shall we say 38?
Why not? I still make 3 years on the deal.
Oh, you're really 41.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put down 44 just to be on the safe side. Now, what are your hobbies, Miss Davis, besides lying about your age?
Well, I swim and I knit.
Well, doesn't the wool get awfully soggy?
I don't do them at the same time.
Oh. Well, one more question and we're through. Now, what kind of a husband would you prefer? Runabout? Convertible? Club model?
Listen, I'll even take a jalopy.
Oh, all right. Now, would you care to make a deposit?
Well, I thought...
come in.
Hi, Gracie. Is George around?
Hubba. I'll make a deposit on him.
Mm-hmm. Isn't he pretty? He's our amphibious model.
Amphibious?
Yeah, he'll go anywhere.
Huh?
How much is he?
Well, he'll run you around 500. That's complete with everything. C.A.D.
C.A.D.?
Curls and dimples.
Hey, what goes on here?
He's sold. I'll make out a check.
Now, just a minute. Tell me what...
Now, look, if you just excuse us for a moment, Miss Davis. Bill, would you step in here, please?
Okay, Gracie.
Bill, are you doing anything this afternoon?
No.
Well, would you do me a little favor?
Well, sure. What is it?
Marry that woman out there.
Marry that woman?
Well, yes, I'm running a matrimonial bureau, and she's my first customer. I can't disappoint her.
Well, but Gracie,
Oh, please, Bill. If you'll marry her just this once, I'll never ask you to do it again. Now, go in there and neck for a couple of minutes and then propose to her.
Gracie, do you think I make a business of necking women I've never seen before?
Yes.
Well, all right. I don't want to get married and spoil business. Go on, Gracie.
Oh, wait, Bill.
I might talk to her.
Oh, wonderful, Bill. Come right in. Miss Davis, this is Mr. Goodwin, the 1946 deluxe job you're interested in. How do you do?
How do you do? Miss Davis, let's assume that you and I are married. Goodbye.
My, that was a quick divorce.
Don't worry, Miss Davis. I'll dig you up a husband. But he may not be as handsome as that one.
Oh, I don't care what he looks like. I'll take anything.
I'll go inside and telephone. You wait here.
Boy, will I take anything. I don't care what it looks like as long as it breathes.
Oh. Hello.
Hello.
Can I do anything for you?
No, I'd rather take a chance on whatever she digs up.
Huh?
I have a chair. The smiling Irish woman will be right back.
The smiling Irish woman?
The woman who lives here.
That's my wife.
Yeah? What's she got to smile about?
Who are you, anyhow?
Well, I'm a customer of your wife.
A customer of my wife? Excuse me a minute.
I'll take as long as you like.
Gracie.
Yeah, oh, you startled me, dear.
Bet I did. Who's the woman outside who says she's a customer?
A customer? Oh, there must be some mistake.
There's no mistake. You're mixed up in some business again. Must you always go behind my back and lie to me?
Oh, George, now that's very unfair. I've never gone behind your back. I've always lied right to your face.
All right, come on. Let's have it. What business are you in?
Well, I'm not in any business.
No? I suppose this woman came here to buy your old hat.
Well, I might as well admit that what did you say?
I said I suppose she's here to buy your old hat.
Oh, she told you, huh?
You mean that is why she's here?
Well, sure. I'm selling every hat in my closet so I can give you back some of the money you lost on the chicken ranch.
Gracie, for once I'm proud of you. Selling your hats is a wonderful idea.
Yes, I'm awfully glad you thought of it.
Huh?
Now, you better run along before the house is filled with women buying hats.
Okay, I'll take a walk. I was just talking to my wife. I'm sure she'll find something that suits you.
I hope so.
Yeah, she's got all kinds, you know.
Do you like the little round ones?
No, I prefer a big tall one.
Yeah, well, they're nice. But you got to hold them on your lap in the movie.
You do?
Sure. People in back want to see something too, you know. Say, if you'd care for something a little bit different, my wife has one with feathers.
Feathers? Do I look like an Indian?
Laughing at you, yeah. Well, some women like them. These are all second-hand, you know.
Oh, I don't care.
Of course, if you get one, you can always freshen it up.
Freshen it up?
Sure, tie a fancy ribbon around it.
What?
Or stick an ostrich plume in it.
Are you crazy? Why should I stick an ostrich plume on my husband?
Your husband? I'm talking about hats. The ones you came here to buy from my wife.
Hats? You think I've been biting my nails for 41 years for a hat? I came here to get a husband.
A what?
A husband from your wife's matrimonial bureau.
My wife's Wait here. Gracie.
Yes, dear?
I've just had a talk with your customer.
Oh, that's nice. A long one?
Long enough.
Murder.
You're not kidding. A matrimonial bureau, huh? It's finished. You understand? You're out of it. Through.
Yes, dear.
No more matrimonial bureau.
No, dear.
That's final, and I mean it.
Of course, dear. Hello? Who? Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm not getting wives for people anymore. My husband made me quit. Goodbye. Well, George, I hope you're satisfied. We've just lost $1 million.
$1 million?
Do you know who I just turned down? Tommy Manville.
The George Burns and Gracie Allen program was transcribed in Hollywood. Now here are our stars.
Good night, folks.